Sorry.
What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
What's up, John?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Dude, it is good to see you.
I know. It's super good to see you, too. Freaking missed your face.
We missed a live stream last month because of sickness in my household.
Sickness, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you've been in Kentucky, which we're going to talk about today.
Yep. I was in Kentucky last week.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Busy summer stuff. Trips, vacations, you know.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
So I do know how it is.
Yeah.
So, Welcome, everyone. This is our SOTI 23, which stands for State of the Industry.
State of the industry.
We were kind of talking about what we were going to name this one, and Brandon just went to Kentucky, and we've got a guest on, Nick Roberts from Sawbull Spirits.
Very exciting.
Yep. He's somebody I can talk to forever. Actually, you have permission to slap me if he and I just leave you out of the conversation.
Strong right hand.
Strong right hand.
Yeah.
All right, so who all is in the chat?
Yeah, if you guys are jumping in, make sure you say hi in the chat so we know you're watching. Super excited for tonight. So Nick's going to come on a little bit later. We've got some cool, you got some picks from Sawbull's Market.
Yep, got some back here, and then I put your barrel proof that we're going to crack here in a second. No spoilers. But I put that back there also.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. But it's going to be really fun. So we're going to sip a couple of fun things and hopefully have some cool conversations tonight. And no games, but we're just going to check in with people. And we are doing a giveaway.
No, keep going. Keep going. I need to not read the chat while you're talking.
That's amazing. We are doing a giveaway tonight, too. So every comment, when someone comments that enters them, you don't get multiple entries.
Right. If you comment 50 times, you still only get one entry.
Right. Everybody gets one. So, we don't have super chatting or any of that stuff on there. So just comment in the chat, and then that's your entry. John's wife, Faith, is going to keep track of everybody's entries. So at the end of the night, we'll put them into a randomizer. Mm-hmm. It's totally fair, totally legit. We're not here to screw anybody or cheat. Like, if we were just giving stuff to our friends, we would just give stuff to our friends. We wouldn't cheat on a live stream. So anyway, giveaway is going to be Gentleman of Whiskey shirt. Is that right?
Yes.
Probably some other stuff.
Yeah, definitely some samples, some sticker packs, and if we're feeling generous, I have 50 mil Blantons that I'm just feeling.
Oh, you did post about that,
yeah,
right?
I have little baby Blantons, and they're cool.
They are cool. Dude,
they're up on a shelf.
If you gave me a baby Blantons, I would be like, sweet. It's pretty cool.
Well, in our giveaway, I'm gonna give you a baby Blanton.
I don't know. I don't think I can. I can't do that. That would feel dishonest.
You're just like over there on your side watching our stream.
But if my wife gets on the stream and she comments and she wins, then I could win. Right. That could happen.
That could happen. It has happened before. She's been very voracious in the chat before.
Oh yeah, she gives me a hard time.
Let's get to some of our chats. The one that made me laugh was, who can't you talk to that long, John? Look, I can talk to Nick for a while. I can talk to certain people for a very long time and just lose it. Brandon here can talk to anyone for any amount of time. I cannot tell you how many times I've been in Lancaster City or anywhere else just hanging out with Brandon, and he sees Mustafa, who he knows, which is an actual person he knows name, and he will talk to them for like 35, 40 minutes, and I'm just there twiddling my thumbs. So
yeah, I do that.
Brad Cox in the house. Sawbull's can here.
What's up, Brad? Glad you're here, man.
Awesome.
Not sure what that means, but
no.
Glad you're here.
It's fine. Autocorrect sucks
sometimes. Get John to lose
it. Get John to lose it.
Check.
What am I losing?
Sherry, what is that? Sherry, what does that mean?
Hat. Dang it. I have an Eagle Rare hat. Brandon has a Stag hat.
I may or may not have bought these at Buffalo Trace last week.
It may have happened. All right, so it's 6:05.
And you know what? I bought the Stag hat because I now have a bottle of Stag. I wouldn't have otherwise because I would have felt like a poser, but I do have one, so.
Why? Oh, okay. So, for some reason, it was not showing me all the chats. Sherry says, hi, Faith. Unfortunately, we have no Faith Cam tonight because we don't have any games.
Oh, bummer.
Payne says, hi, I'm Brandon from Gentleman of Whiskey.
Okay, so there's a story. Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah. Yep.
On that, what you're gonna read?
Nope. Crap.
Uh-oh.
Wrong button. wrong button on the stream deck. Am I right?
Same. I love the sound of my own voice. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't want to say that's what it is, but. Anyway. Okay. Hi, I'm Brandon from Gentleman of Whiskey. So, I was in Kentucky last week with my wife and her best friend Braille and her husband Dane. Dane and I both are super into whiskey and cigars and like have become really good friends since our wives are super good friends and I married Haley. So.
What?
Yeah, super short. That's who Dane and Braille. Awesome. We love them. We've done a couple trips with them. It's just super fun. So anyway, we're in Kentucky, and we're on these distillery tours, and we're in bars and all these places, and Dane is constantly like, "Hey, do you know who this is? This is Brandon. Do you know Brandon from German Whiskey?" And like he got the most ridiculous reactions, and we were just dying. Like we were. I'll tell the story later, but we were in line at Evan Williams, and everybody's a little sloshed after the tour, and he said to this guy, he's like, "Dude, this is Brandon from Gem and Whiskey, like on YouTube. Like, do you know who that is?" And the guy was like, he basically said, "Social media can F itself," like to us. It was so ridiculous.
That's a super Gen X mentality.
Yeah, it was awesome. We were having a good time, but.
Dude, I should have given you some of our cards. I have cards with our QR code on them. That would have been.
Yeah.
You just leave them places.
I would leave them places. I would feel bad. I feel weird self-promoting.
I absolutely do the same. Like, I even hate sometimes, like linking our reviews in comments and stuff.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I'm not all about, like, even when, like, 717 tastings, I won't be the first one to mention us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's fair.
Like, I'm not there to try and make it like, hey, welcome to 717. Join Gentlemen and Whiskey. Like,
right. Dane did get one guy to subscribe, though. So.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
We're up over 700 subs now.
That is freaking amazing.
Yeah, we're at 713, I think, as of right now. I don't know. Somebody check the bottom.
Feels real good.
It was 7-Eleven this morning.
7-Eleven.
Right?
Yeah.
I should have screenshotted that. I was going to screenshot when it was 666, like a week ago. And I was going to be like, come join G&W. We're like a devilishly good time.
Yeah, nice.
But it went from 660 to 668 overnight, which is like first world problems. Like, obviously we had like a bunch of people sub. And I was like, do I just like unsub myself? Tell you to unsub so we can get the picture or what's...
You could have. You could have, I mean, 669 would have been another interesting one to screenshot, you know what I'm saying?
Well, when we get to 69.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, let's bring up the chat real quick, and then we're going to start talking about your time in Kentucky.
Yep.
Brad Cox, Sawbulls fan. All right, that makes more sense.
Nice.
Yep. I am also a fan of Sawbulls.
I need to get there.
Yeah, we'll get you there.
Yeah.
Brian, what are we drinking? We're currently not drinking anything, so Brandon, why don't you go ahead and
question, Brian.
Pop
I'm glad you asked.
ECBP.
And, all right, so this is a good segue into, you can't really see it with the lights, into the whiskey tour. So one of the tours that...
It's not going to do it. Cover your face. All right, nope, not going to do it today.
All right, we just look like idiots. Somebody will clip that.
Yeah, so the reason I said cover our faces is this has,
so that
like, the camera has facial tracking, so if it senses a face, it won't ever zoom in on anything else.
Makes sense. Anyway, we did the You Do Bourbon Tour at Heaven Hill, and that is a tasting tour where you taste Larceny Barrel Proof, Bernheim Barrel Proof, and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And then at the end of the tour, you get the option to bottle one of the three that you like the most for the price of a barrel proof, so $80. So we did that, and we all four of us bottled, which was amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's why all four of us did that tour, even though the girls don't really like.
Now, did whiskey. All of them say Gentlemen and Whiskey?
No. No, because so I don't know what Dane, you'll have to post if you're still watching. What did you put your bottle by? So I did mine by Gentlemen and Whiskey, and then the girls both did. I think both the girls did Ladies and Whiskey. Which was like just this fun little like.
That's what I was getting at.
Was like, she was like gonna do it by. She was gonna say it was bottled by our dog, but it was like our dog was. It was gonna be bottled by Huxley, but then Huxley wasn't there, so she just did Ladies and Whiskey, and I wanted her to do by my Instagram handle PA Bourbon Beast, and she was like, no, this is my bottle, like, and I was like, okay, sorry,
that's fair.
I'm not gonna drink it, but anyway, so
you should have done Gentleman and Whiskey. Until we can go together, and then we can like both pull the lever together, and it'll be like a moment.
Yep. Anyway, it's very cool. You put a tag with your name on it. They give you this cool tag strip with Bardstown, Kentucky that you seal it with. You put the labels on the bottle yourself and everything. So the side strip label is a little different than the regular barrel proof. It doesn't have an age statement on it. These are at least 12 years old, from what we were told. It's a smaller batch of bottle or barrels than the regular ECBP releases, but it is that same ECBP juice. And then on the front, you get to write your own front label with bottled by, bottled on, the date. The proof is 126, alcohol by volume 63%, and the batch is Y523. So the batches change throughout the year. It's a super cool experience and super fun. The tasting, though, I will say this: the tasting, you get like barely anything in each one. Like, so there were the Old Forester tasting, we had. I mean, they were generous, but very very cool experience. I went in going, I'm probably gonna do both Elijah Craig's, not the Larceny, not the Bernheim, and
How was the Bernheim?
you know what? Actually, wasn't bad. Like, it was not like gross at all. And I've never had so Bernheim is a wheat whiskey. It's not a wheated bourbon.
Right.
So that was like different for me. And barrel proof, it was like very good. The flavors were good. But I just wanted 2 of these. So where are the Glens?
They're on the floor behind us.
I don't know where the Glens are.
I'm gonna do some of the chat while we're already behind.
Sorry. Guys.
Okay, so losing it apparently means John laughs and loses his train of thought. Okay, so that happens like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Faith story time. Hey Brian. Hey Sherry. You guys, best friends. You hate me. It's fine.
Oh, they don't.
No, Brian just went to Sherry's house and was cheating on us. It's fine. You got to self-promote. If you don't like you, why would subs? That's a good point. I wouldn't say I don't self-promote because I don't like me. I would say that I don't self-promote because I would like people to like me for me and not be like pushy on it. So that's where I'm at.
I feel, yeah, I like me. I feel self-conscious. I feel self-conscious promoting because when I'm in a situation and someone is self-promoting, often it could be, I can't think of a good example, but like, I'm like usually not interested. So then I don't want to be that person to other people.
If someone's like on the corner handing out their SoundCloud links.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes. Or like anybody anywhere in any city trying to hand you anything.
Right.
Like, dude, no, I'm not interested. No, thank you.
Not happening.
So I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to feel that way towards people.
Philip Kerr.
Yo, Phil, what's up, man?
Brian, really want to know what John thinks of that bottle. Well, it's off to a good start because it's above barrel entry proof. I support ladies in whiskey. Heck yeah. Dane did Burkhart birthday bourbon or something. I don't remember what Braille did, but it wasn't L&W.
Got it. That's my wife.
Right.
And my dog's face.
I did Burkhart birthday bourbon. Braille did Do You, Babe. That's awesome.
Nice.
What's your favorite spot in Kentucky? I enjoyed Frankfurt Liquors and Willet. All right, so that is a good launch. I'm going to just bring up some other comments. Ladies and Whiskey, Solidarity. Chris is with me. He's driving. He says, what's up? What's up, Big Stick? How you doing, man?
What's up, Chris? I've never met you, so I don't feel comfortable calling you that yet. So.
Well, so he's Big Stick because Chris from Bourbon of the Week is Littlewood.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cool,
so that's the... Hey, come on, man.
I didn't taste it.
No, but you cheated on me.
That was a little bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so excited about this. Like, this is, I'm super stoked about this.
Smells good so far.
Ooh.
It's like very vanilla forward.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of nuttiness. Okay.
Yes, the nuttiness is just underneath a little bit.
Okay.
But it's super sweet. All right. We have a legit.
Yeah. So we got like 16 minutes for you to talk about Kentucky.
Us to talk about Kentucky.
Yeah.
But as you've seen already, I can just talk forever.
Yep.
So.
We also were going to get to some industry stuff, but we may cut that just in favor of Nick, or we might talk about it with Nick. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, he would probably be he'd be an interesting person to get some perspective on some of those things.
Well, we have questions for him.
Yeah.
But then we also, depending on how quick the questions go, whatever, what bunny trails we get on, how long he's with us, because I know he's coming on at 6:30. Other than that, I don't really know. So, yeah, it smells good. There's not a whole lot of proof on the nose.
I definitely get some, but no, it's like very sweet. Like I feel like there's some mapley oak in there. Like it just. Brian just did this too, literally.
Yeah.
Brian just like maybe last month, I think, did the same, but Brian got a different batch than I did.
Okay. Okay. Brian, what batch is yours? I know you're in chat. I don't know if you're still in chat, but
I'm sure he is.
Johnny says, "Cheers, fellas."
Johnny Dean,
what's up,
my
Johnny?
Guy? How are you, sir? Johnny, good morning. I see all of your Instagram stories of the good mornings. It always cracks me up.
Good morning. That's how you used to greet me. A lot of times when you'd sleep over at my house.
Dude, there was this Tiger Woods brief I don't even know what you call it, like an interview or something.
Yeah.
Like a press release thing or a press thing. And He just opened it this one time, like super deadpan. It was like, "Good morning, thank you for joining me." Super weird. That's where that comes from. Like, "Good morning." Anyway, it's
Brian
not
says
weird.
his is Y523, which is the
Oh,
same as yours. I think, is yours 126 proof also, Brian?
Brian, maybe
I'm just going to
I
ask you
thought
repeated questions.
I thought you had a
yours.
different one. I guess we have the same batch, which is cool.
So,
What we should do, Brian, is compare these sometime in person and see if they're definitely if they're really the same.
we got to do a video on neck pour. Apparently, that's like a super controversial topic right now.
Yeah,
Like,
because
another pour
Cam,
was talking on it.
Cam from Drums and Drams is like totally against the idea of that. He says whiskey does not change, which is fascinating to me because like I think it does, and I feel like he has a super sensitive palate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, talk to me about Kentucky.
Johnny doing great way to start, baby girl. Glad you enjoy them. Yep, yeah, man. Always cracks me up. It's cool. That dad life. What was the question about Kentucky?
I mean,
I think it's. I think part of it is we're just.
what's your
excited to
favorite
be
part
here.
in Kentucky? Yeah.
Favorite whiskey spot in Kentucky. Really enjoyed Frankfurt Liquors and Willet. Well, John, like, what about you? Because you actually, were. Okay, so I'll go.
Yeah, sorry, I'm texting.
No,
Nick
you're good. So
really
Dane
quick.
and I, it was super fun. We went to a little liquor bar and express that's in Louisville. We were staying in Louisville, and so we walked there. Super fun. It was cool just to see. I don't know. And then we went to Justin's House of Bourbon, which was awesome to just kind of see. We did each buy something there, but I don't know. Their prices weren't like I don't know terrible, but they weren't like amazing.
Yeah.
John suggested we go to a different liquor barn on the zip code was 13401.
Shelbyville Road.
Shelbyville Road, okay?
Yeah.
So Dan and I go there on Saturday morning. And we got there probably by like 9:30, 9:45. And they had done a drop of allocated stuff. Dane got a Old Forester single barrel proof. Super freaking cool. He got the last one. And I got Hancock's Reserve single barrel, which was insane. I've never even seen one before. And I got it. We both got our bottles at MSRP, which was amazing. And they had tons of store picks. So that was like a really great spot. I'm trying to think where else we went. Haley and I went to another, and I don't remember the liquor. No, I don't remember what it was called.
Do you remember where it was?
It was, we dropped Dane and Braille off at Willett for a tour and then headed back the main line to a grocery store to pick up some stuff. And there was like a liquor store. I feel bad. I don't remember, but
It's fine.
anyway, I did get a Knob Creek store pick there. That's on my Instagram. I've posted about it already. So if you look at that, if you find that picture, if you're that interested.
At PA Bourbon Beast, if you didn't
PA
already
Beast,
follow
yeah.
him, PA _Bourbon Beast. It'll be when we switch to Nick, it'll be under
Is it
his
an
name.
underscore?
Yeah, there's an underscore in there.
There's an underscore. I don't look at it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's in most of our videos, descriptions, if you're looking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an underscore in that for sure.
Oh, yeah, there is.
All right, look, we got to taste this. Then.
Dude, let's taste it, man. Yeah. So anyway, went there. They had crazy stuff like Weller and Stag and everything massively overpriced. I was talking to the guy. I was like, does anybody buy these bottles? He was like, no, not really. I was like, so you want to cut me a deal? He was like, no. I was like, okay.
That's fair.
I'll buy your store pick.
Sometimes, don't buy their store picks if they're not going to work with you.
I don't know.
That's when, like if I walk in and I see a museum, I've only ever done it once where I then bought a bottle, and that was at Cape Wine and Spirits with you in Rehoboth, because I really wanted the Lost Monarch.
Well, I was buying other stuff. I was already buying. I found Jack Daniel's 350s that were 133.3 proof.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought two of those. I bought a top floor for my brother-in-law and something else. I don't remember. They had Buffalo Trace for like $45.
Gross.
Like, no. But anyway, I was like already buying stuff, and he let me try the Knob Creek store pick, and I was like, man, I haven't had one of these in so long, and it was like really good. And I was like, screw it, I'll get it. It was $65. It was normal price, so
right.
I don't know. So I don't really have favorite spots to hunt whiskey. All that to say,
right.
I ran off of your recommendations, and then wherever Dane wanted to go. So it was fun. I don't know. It was just fun.
If you want a good time sometime and you're just chilling in Louisville and you want to have a laugh, go on Drizzly and just look for allocated whiskey around you and see how much it is.
Oh,
there was a Weller Full Proof for $500. It was hysterical. It was so nuts.
The Weller single barrel at that one place was like over $1,000. And I was like, okay, come on, dude. What he really said is he trades them. So I was like, oh, makes sense.
Yep, that's definitely illegal. Okay, so where did you go in Kentucky when you were there?
All right, so we did. Dane and Braille got in Thursday. It's Dane's story to tell. They got kicked off an airplane Wednesday night because Dane assaulted a stewardess. Assaulted.
Huh.
Not really. He didn't even. Anyway, it's a whole problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Whole problem. So they were gonna fly, and then they ended up driving overnight. So they drove in Thursday morning. Dane and Braille did Four Roses, and they went to Wild Turkey.
Okay.
And then they went to Bardstown on Thursday. Haley and I drove Thursday night and got there Friday morning.
Okay.
And so Dane and I immediately, we were going to go to Four Roses if they were going to drop something. They didn't drop anything. So Dane and I went to some places in Louisville. We went to Old Forester at 10 o'clock when they opened. And we ended up doing a breakfast tasting because it was this was also a trip celebrating both mine and Dane's birthdays because they're in the same week.
Okay.
We're not the same age, but same week. So we did birthday tastings we did the Old Forester birthday bourbon, the 117, and the President's Choice. So I had that tasting for $50. So we each did that, which was super cool. And first time I've ever had President's Choice, first time I've ever had 117.
Okay.
And that birthday bourbon was 2022. So it was super fun. We did that and we walked around. We had a tour, the Old Forester tour, the Nothing Better in Bourbon tour at 12:30. So that was cool. That tasting at the end was the birthday bourbon, the 117, and then a special Old Forester single barrel proof that is only for that tasting. So not even the employees can buy it. So the only place you get is if you do that tour. That was super fun.
Your wife said, wait, are you still not talking about Kentucky? Haley, keep them on track. Good luck.
Yeah.
Any bottles? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Best thing about Kentucky, every bar has an amazing selection. Wild Turkey 12. Yep, they do have amazing selections, and they're all expensive.
Yeah. We went to Sidebar. The girls actually found Sidebar while Dane and I were doing a tasting at Evan Williams. And we go to Sidebar, and we're sitting there, and Dane and I are looking at all these amazing opportunities to have a pour, try something crazy. And I freaking see Wild Turkey 12 over on the side, and I was like, dude, look, there's Wild Turkey 12. And Dane's an even bigger Wild Turkey fan than I am, I think. But that not being a release that you can get in the States, we tried it, and it was insane. It was so good. So that was very cool. We had a lot of great pours. So anyway, Old Forester and Evan Williams, we did tours on Friday.
Okay.
Saturday we did. We all went to Heaven Hill and did the You Do Bourbon tour. Dana Braille did a Willet tour, and I just had not felt like I wanted to do a tour at Willet because I'm just not a big fan of Willet products. So we dropped them off, and then Haley and I ran some errands. We went to that liquor store, bought a bunch of stuff, came back, all had dinner at the Willet bar. Dana and I, we did pours of Purple Tops. I mean, we felt like we had to. And the selection there is insane.
Okay.
For Purple Tops at the restaurant or the bar at Willet, which is a restaurant. It's super cool. The kitchen is open, so you can see them literally preparing all the food. All the options are what I would call I don't know, gourmet. They're I'm a very plain eater, so for me it was but we got a bunch of stuff, and it was a lot of fun, and the food was very good. And the Purple Top pours were insane. Mine was 6 years old and 129 proof, and Dane did an 11-year, I think. I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
Yeah, yours was high rye, the one you posted.
Probably.
You can tell by it'll say barrel number, and yours was 47 something. Okay. And then if you Google Willet barrel codes or something like that, it's this is wheated, this is high rye, this is whatever. Yeah, so. Yeah, because I'm a nerd like that, and I see your picture, and I'm like, oh, he's at Willet.
You're
What's he
drinking?
Which
one did he drink? That's cool.
Right,
that's cool, because I didn't know that.
That's how dumb I am.
You're not dumb, dude. So that was very cool. Second time only that I've ever had a Purple Top. Vin's is the only other one.
Yeah. That one was also a high rye, I believe.
They were so different.
Yeah.
Vin's, it was so cool. We were over at Vin's one night, and
Vin's is almost always old too. Like his stuff is always like 3 to 4, 5, 7, 10 years old.
very cool.
Not like in age in the barrel, like he bought it 10 years ago.
Which is like super crazy.
Right,
to,
yeah,
like, see
it's
stuff,
awesome.
Yeah.
What's up, Jeff?
Oh, hey,
Just
Jeff.
told my wife I need to get to Kentucky to visit the distilleries. Yes, you do.
Jeff, you've got to, man.
Yep. It's like being a Muslim and going to Mecca. Like that's pretty much, you're a bourbon lover, you need to go.
Like the holy trip.
Yep. Like the holy shot.
Sure.
World.
Sure.
Disc golf joke thrown right in there.
Anyway, it was super fun.
All right, favorite distillery to visit.
That's tough. Buffalo Trace So we did Buffalo Trace on Sunday then. So that was the last one. Well, we went to Castle. We visited Castle and Key and somewhere else, but the last tour we did was Buffalo Trace on Sunday. The grounds, and the grandeur of Buffalo Trace and like touring around was so cool. We also had an awesome tour guide. Lisa was very knowledgeable and talked us through stuff and let us ask a bunch of questions and whatever. So
yeah,
that was awesome. Turns out, so this is something people might be interested in. It looks like in the future they may start sourcing Blantons from other warehouses.
Okay.
So like for people that like Blantons or collect Blantons, it kind of sounds like in the future having warehouse H Blantons before they start differentiating where the sourcing is coming from might end up being something that becomes like a thing in the future.
Building another metal warehouse? Or are they just, because that was like a key thing when Blanton switched over, was that like the metal warehouse like changed temperature so much more rapidly than the brick ones.
Yeah.
That's why Blanton would pull Blantons from, like, before it was Blanton's, when it was just Blanton being like, oh, hey, you're a friend of mine. Do you want this barrel of honey, like honey barrel of whiskey, and bottling it? And then Elmer T. Lee was like doing the same thing, but specifically with stuff from Warehouse H.
Dane might remember more from that part of the tour. I just remember her saying that they're doing, so the farm up on the hill, whatever that is, that's where, like, she said a lot of the benchmarks coming from. And then she started talking about Blanton sourcing, and it might be coming other places or something like that. And that's all I remember, other than Dane and I were talking about it afterwards. Like, dude, holy crap. Like, if you have, like, pre-new sourcing Blantons, whatever, like, might be a big deal. I don't know. I could see the industry doing stuff with that. People freaking out. So anyway, Buffalo Trace favorite. I think the best tasting experience that we had for me was the Nothing Better in Bourbon at Old Forester.
Okay.
That was the best stuff that we tasted at a distillery, and the best, like, we had real Glens, larger pours. So at Evan Williams, it was like literally like little tiny baby mini Glens. And we tasted 1783 Master Blender. It was kind of more like a sales thing. They were trying to sell us the Master Blender, the Square 6, and the Evan 12. Which Dane didn't get. Dane got an Evan 12.
Okay, that's not gross.
It wasn't
Square
terrible.
6 is
Square 6 is
awful.
so bad.
It's bad.
I drank more of it in the gift shop because an old man came up to us with little mini pours of it and gave it to us, and then gave us an elevator pitch on Square 6. So I drank it. But it was not good. And the same with Five Brothers at Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill has a distillery-only thing called Five Brothers, which I forget. It's commemorative of the Five Brothers or whatever. You know, also not very good. I really wanted it to be good. And I was like, oh my gosh, if this is great, I've never heard of this. Like, nobody talks about this. I'll get a bottle. And we're like, nope. And it's $80. And it's not good. And I was like, man. But Dana and I had pours of that at the Five Brothers bar or whatever upstairs in Heaven Hill, which was cool. So I was actually going to do like a story review on my Instagram, and then I chickened out and didn't do it. But I thought about it.
Chickened out and didn't do it.
Yeah, because the whole weekend there were so many jokes about, hey, like, I'm Brandon from Gentleman of Whiskey, and like this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm going to do it.
I've triggered Brett.
Oh, with the disc golf. Yeah. The disc golf comment.
Sherry's laughing. Adam's in the house.
What's
awesome.
Up, Adam?
He's just getting back from Maine.
From Maine?
Yeah.
Ooh, sweet. What part of Maine?
The main part. Cuts off the bottom of Haley's comment, but she says, as non-bourbon drinkers, a lady recommended we try bourbon margaritas. Highly recommend for any wifeys who aren't into bourbon. Most of the bars made it with Old Forester. What did they make it with? Was it Old Forester 100?
I told this story to you guys earlier a little bit. So, one of the ladies at Old Forester, one of the employees, told Dane and I in the morning, I think we were talking about, we were there with our wives, but they're not into bourbon. She was like, oh, if they like margaritas, have them try margaritas with bourbon instead of tequila. And we did, and it turned out that they loved it, and it was really good. So when they went to Sidebar, instead of making them with Old Forester 86, they made them with Old Forester 100, which affected the ladies a little bit. And Dan and I were sloshed from being at Evan Williams, doing a tasting in the morning at Old Forester, and then another tasting at Old Forester at 1:30, and then Evan Williams, and then drinks in between and lunch. It was really, really fun. It was a super fun time.
I apologize for not only the sound outside because there's tractor trailers in our house, but I'm distracted because I'm trying to get Nick in. And for some reason, yesterday it worked great when we were testing it, but today it's being done. So.
Oh no! Are you guys figuring it out?
We're figuring it out. We're working the problem.
Okay, well, let's keep talking about.
Keep talking about Kentucky, man.
I love the sound of my own voice. What can I say? Freaking Sherry. All right, so this is good. This is nutty though on the palate for me, which like never. I love the nose.
Oh, we're talking. Yeah. So my last sip was like a bunch of honey. I like this. I actually think I like this better than even the store picks. Yeah.
Whoa.
If this were an ECBP release, it would be the best one since C920.
Ooh, I think I like A123 more than this. Literally.
We've had this fight before.
For me, I'm just saying for me, this is really good. I love this. Yeah. But I don't feel like it's my favorite since... I'm trying to think what 21... I think I only had C921. Wait, do we have B521 at the GNW birthday 2 years ago?
Yeah, the one that tasted like burnt rubber.
Yeah, it was really bad. That one was bad.
Adam, sorry I'm late. I'm tired. Well, you also were in holding before you could land for a while, so that's understandable. When it comes to pours, size matters. Yep.
Size, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll remember she said they were building more metal rick houses. Okay. So
okay.
Yep. So it will be still metal. It's just not ready yet.
And not warehouse.
So it's not like it's going to come from warehouse C.
No.
Teenagers told me it's okay to post as many stories as you want. It's true. Worst thing people can do is not watch them, I guess. It's faux pas to over posts. All right. Dave is in the house.
There he is.
Hey.
What's up, sir?
Brandon, a buddy of mine, has a house on China Lake, Maine, that he spends the summers at. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
What part of Maine is that in? We were...
China Lake.
What is it? Is it close to anything? Dana Braille. Braille's parents have a lodge on Kezar Lake. Lake Kezar? Lake Kezar. Which is an hour and a half west of the coast. Something like that. We were up there before. So...
All right, so we have Nick.
Sweet. Thank you.
Should be. Okay.
It's literally the right one.
Okay. All right, we're going to do
nice.
This show on stream. Bring him in. What's up, Nick?
What's going on, guys?
Okay, hold on. I'm sure everyone else can hear you. I think the collab cam is working sound. Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so they can hear you. We just can't, and that's because of... Settings, global settings, default.
We gotta figure out sound here,
and then
but
back to these.
I can't hear anything.
Default. Webcam, turn off, gone. Nick, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hell yeah, awesome.
All right.
Yep. Let me fix you real quick.
Nick, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you.
Brandon. Pleasure, man. Nice to meet you.
John's
Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you so much for being on. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Very cool. John's only said awesome things, so.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I told him earlier that if we just start talking and leave him out of the conversation, that he is expressly to smack me. So it's been known to happen with people.
That's funny.
So yeah, I think the last 2 times I've spent like a significant amount of time just talking to you in the aisles.
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of angry wives, and they're like, they'll text their husbands like, "You were supposed to be back an hour ago." Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, hold on. Let me. Fix
That's a
this.
good problem.
Right.
Nope, it's not that.
Sweet. We're still playing around with the sound a little bit, but Nick, why don't you? So there's people in chat, right? Why don't you give a real quick 30-second? This is who I am. This is what I do. Tell us about Sawbull's Market a little bit.
Sure. So I'm Nick Roberts. I run Sawbull's Spirits, part of Sawbull's Markets in Whiteford. There's 4 stores that are Sawbull's. 3 are in Pennsylvania. The one in Maryland has a liquor store. Actually, one of the stores in Pennsylvania will be getting a beer and wine license soon.
Nice.
But obviously, can't sell liquor there. So we'll still be the only whiskey place to go to. So I've been in the liquor business for 15 years. I'm at Sawbull's 12. And I didn't really get into bourbon until I came up to Sawbull's, because the other store that I ran, we didn't really sell a lot of bourbon. And then coming up north, everybody drank the brown stuff. So I was like, I gotta kind of get familiar with it and kind of, accept it as a passion also. And so that's kind of what's made it fun, because then I get to work and have fun at the same time. So
nice.
All right, so apparently we had double audio. I think I fixed that. Can somebody let me know if that's fixed? Okay, Brad says now it's better.
Here he said trippy.
Yeah, no, sorry. I had multiple sources on you. It's been a fun time trying to bring you in. All right, hey, so Brandon and I are going to kind of alternate asking you questions. We're going to open up your Art of Spirits pick right now, because I think Brandon's going to love that. Can you get Glenn's?
Because I am a big MGP guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Love
And you've never had anything from them, right?
No.
Okay.
No, because I honestly, can I actually say that I've tried this in store, or is that going to get you in trouble?
Oh no. Oh look, okay. all my picks we have open in the store. I mean, that's one of the things, the better stores pride themselves on, is let you try the picks before you buy them. And I think that's a big part of doing store picks is, you want people to buy something they like. If you don't like it, then I don't want you to buy it. I don't want you to get a bottle home and say, "Oh, I don't like this," or "It's not my style." So everything that we do is always open to try.
I just wasn't sure if Maryland allowed for you to do that in
so
store.
there's you have on-site licenses that you get. That's why we can do tastings in the store, and
okay,
we also can do tastings as well. So I know PA is a little different. It's a definitely different style up there.
I think you can have it in store in PA, but no one's gonna do it because they really honestly don't care. Cheers,
guys.
What are you drinking?
So I'm actually drinking my my Russell's pick. It's called Turkey is Away.
Take it up a little bit. Put up where your face would be. There you go.
Got it.
Nice, dude. I love that.
That's a good sticker, right?
Sticker.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. It's any of the guys that have come to the store over the past couple years. That's one of their favorite picks, and that's the probably the number one.
This smells amazing.
Yo, yeah. This is. I think Brandon is gonna love this. Do you have Glenn's?
I think it's a huge flavor bomb. I mean, I think you get for being a higher proof too. I think it's all flavor.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I came into your store that day and I was going to get, I forget what, I think it was the Taconic pick. And then you're like, hey, do you want to try the Art of Spirits? And I was like, I mean, I'll never say no to free whiskey.
Right.
But, and then you won me over. I bought one.
It's just, I think, sorry?
I was going to say the sticker alone would have won me over. I love the.
So that's that's all their labels. So all they do is single barrel products. They don't have like a regular shelfie. But it's very military inspired. He has a couple other picks I did, other labels styles, which is like Bonnie and Clyde. But all the bourbons are usually military inspired. He has a couple different ones now, but
Yeah.
The Frogman.
What's the other one that's not the Frogman? What's
So,
the
so the other
differentiation
one
on
that
that one?
I have two actually. One is a port finished. It's actually a ruby port finished,
Mm,
and then
okay.
there's a rye that is finished in Weller barrels, and that's like the Bonnie and Clyde style label.
Oh
Gotcha.
wow, rye finished in Weller barrels. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
the wrong one. Shelby says, pleasure meeting Nick the other day. Wealth of knowledge. Cuts it off a little bit on this one. But
Nice. What's up, Shelby?
I apologize to him because I was like, I really hope you got to talk to Nick enough.
Yeah, no, he was cool.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
all right. So, Nick, I'm going to ask you. So, this is one of our questions, but just since you told us a little bit about your like coming up north a little bit and getting into bourbon, so like, what were some of the like first bourbon? Do you remember trying like initial bourbons and like
Oh,
what you
absolutely. I
like
mean, like,
what you
so I
liked?
always, I mean, being in the liquor business, and
Mhm.
I liked everything, right? So I would say, starting off, it was Crown Royal, it was Maker's Mark, your classic, go tos, Knob
Yeah.
Creek, it's the stuff you walked in and find, and you didn't really try to look. And then going north, obviously, then it was. I mean, I remember the first time, trying Booker's and Baker's, when they were kind of like begging you to take them and put them on the shelf because
Yeah.
not many places wanted them, And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, these are cool. These are different. Booker has this awesome box, and but it sat there. Nobody picked it up. They sat. People would buy them for presents. Father's Day, Christmas, stuff like that. Because it already was kind of like a package in itself. But trying those kind of things, and then obviously there was different guys coming in the store that would meander in and say, oh, do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm like, okay, what's that? Or oh, I got some Weller in the back. You want it? How many do you want? It doesn't,
Yeah.
It didn't matter back then. It was like, here, take it. It just sits here. So,
Yeah.
And, a couple guys were like, hey, you should try that. Or, you should take some of those home and drink them. Like they're good bottles. So and just one thing led to another.
That's so crazy that you've seen the industry change so much over probably the past like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, even 10 years back when I'd get Weller by the case and it would sit on the floor, and like because you don't get it all the time, so you didn't have a spot for it, right? So it would just sit there, and the case would just sit there, and people would walk by and maybe grab a bottle here and there, but it would just sit there for a couple of days until I found a spot to put it or whatever. Blanton's, Eagle Rare would sit on the shelf. Just people would the people that knew would come in and get one, but they didn't buy more than they needed to because they knew they'd come back in a week and it would still be there. Yeah. So it didn't make a difference. And it's and the whole industry's changed, not just bourbon, but everything. But in the last 5 years, kind of like to your point, bourbon itself has just gone crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot less about the rest of the liquor industry, really, like just being in the whiskey world. That's more what I feel like I can speak to a little bit.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's having the ability to change with it, I think, is what makes some stores better, some stores worse, right? Like seeing that change in bourbon, I every year after year I expand my bourbon section, and then I got more picks in because I was like, okay, people want these, I'll do more, and as long as the demand was there, might as well keep going with it. So
yeah. How long have you been with Sawbols?
So August will be 12 years, I believe.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Seen the industry grow.
Yeah, no, and especially up there, we're in the middle of nowhere, so being able to draw people up, it helps because we don't have condos going up behind us or townhouses or anything like that. So the growth really comes from people saying, hey, that's they got a good selection, or they got good picks, so it's worth the travel, down or up depending on where you're coming from. But it's so whiskey's been a huge help just to the store's growth in general.
Yeah. What was your first barrel pick?
So my first barrel pick, it was a few barrel. So few whiskey.
Okay. Yep.
It was a short barrel. It was like 10 cases. It was just a dabble. They pitched it to me. They're like, hey, we're trying to move these. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. It's 101 proof. Still a good drink. Nothing crazy. It was back then. Nobody knew about it. So that was kind of my first dabble. And then, it did pretty well. So I was like, okay, like what's cooler, right? Like what are the mass audience going to want? So then I was like, I got to do a Maker's Mark, right? Like everybody knows it. It's a cool experience. You get to design it yourself pretty much. I know what my clients want or my customer base wants. So when I went down, I had that in mind, and I said, I'm going to pick this so that everybody that I know that comes in the store will like it. I'm not picking it for myself per se, even though I want to drink it, but what will everyone like? What's going to be the most approachable? And that was, before, that was actually the year before RC6 came out. And then my pick dropped and RC6 came out very shortly after. And then since then, obviously the makers, would finish release and picks have been crazy since then. But that was back when, nobody was doing them. So,
right.
But it's still one of my favorite picks for sure.
Nice.
Wait, so are you saying that like when you did that, you picked the stave profiles and everything?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. When you do a maker's pick, that's how you do it. You try the pure sample of each stave, right, and you blend it. So like you're like, all right, I want two. So you pick a certain amount of staves, and you get to pick how many of each stave you want in there. So that's how you do it. It's not necessarily picking a single barrel of it. It's picking the stave selection. You put the staves, you ring them yourself, you put them in the barrel, and you fill the barrel with just base makers. And then at the higher proof. And then it goes to their the cave, they call it, which is like they blew out like the side of a mountain. So it's in like if you've ever been there, it's really cold. It stays the same temperature all the time. And so it doesn't age per se. It doesn't, you're not getting any higher proof. You're not losing any. It just flavors the whiskey with your stave profile.
That's so crazy that you can pick the stave profile and blend it all together.
It's fantastic.
That'd be so overwhelming, I think, to me. But
it's a lot because, and they tell you, like, look, you could sit here and you can, because they pride themselves on they've never duplicated a stave selection, right? Like, and that's why they'll change things out. So like my pick has the French mocha stave in it, which they don't offer anymore to anybody new. If I want to redo my pick, I can, but it's that recipe, right? They'll redo it as what I picked. I can't change it. But like people that go down now, it's a whole new set of staves. They've taken things out or put things back from before to keep it that way. So all the picks are different.
Wow.
Nice.
That's like very cool.
It's
awesome.
always funny to me.
I think that's still one of the best ones. I think makers picks in general, they can be all over the place, right? But I think it's some of the better things because they are so unique.
Huh.
It's always funny to me when guys put in 10 makers 46 staves.
Right.
And it's just like you could just get makers 46 cast, right?
Right. There's no different. The proof is really the only difference there. Like that's your outlier.
Yeah.
Huh.
So walk us through your pick process. So like what is it like? How do you get a pick? How do you choose what you get?
Right? Like, every distillery has a different way of doing it, right? Obviously, the choice model would be to go down and pick it, right? But, I don't have as much time as other stores. I know a lot of stores go down, 2, 3, 4 times a year if they can, if not more. So I try to get down at least once a year to do a pick if I can. Usually they're all pretty much the same. You get 3 samples, Now, that could change depending on if it's a smaller distillery or a bigger distillery. But most of your bigger ones now, Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, trying to think, Lux Row, usually you get 3 samples. Like that's it, and so it's, you're picking from the best 3. So for instance, like a Lux Row or Knob Creek, for example, they send it to you at barrel strength, and you proof it down to, Knob Creek's a 120 or Lux Row, depending on what the pick is the chosen proof of that. So they'll tell you how much water to add per sample to proof it down to that proof.
Gotcha.
And then that's what it's going to taste like or close to it. Other ones, say like a Russell's, they'll send you, 3 to 5 samples and it's, from the barrel, it's what it is. So you pick the best one. I did a Stranahan's pick that's coming later this year. And there was like 4 samples available. So
nice.
I just picked the best of 4. And that doesn't mean that they're always good. There's definitely been barrels that I've been like, nope, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not interested. So sometimes they'll send you another set, or sometimes you get lucky enough to get another set. Sometimes you don't. It all depends. But yeah, so I do, most of mine I do in store. If I can, get some guys to come up, if I have enough heads up, I'll invite a few guys up to help me do it. I tend to like to do them myself, just because when you have other people doing it, if their profile's not yours, then it's hard to choose it. If I really like A and he really likes B, then how are we gonna decide which one's the best?
Yeah.
So
Probably
so
arm wrestling,
far,
I would think.
Sorry.
Would you arm wrestle to break the tie?
Sure. Depending on the guy. I have a few friends that are my height. Some of them are a little bigger, so that might be kind of hard. But,
so what?
Yeah, so
when you do a pick,
yep.
Sorry, when you do a pick, what is it you are like looking for? Like what points are you trying to hit?
So my main goal is flavor and drinking below its proof. I don't like things to drink hot. I don't want you to get kicked in the face with heat. So my barrel pick that I have is 130 proof, and everyone that's tried it will tell you it does not drink 130 proof.
Right.
If you're a bourbon drinker, you drink it, you're like, oh, this is like 105, 110. The 130 is totally hidden. And I think that's important. You know what I mean? Like I like to taste it. Like I want to enjoy being able to try different, taste points. Like is it fruity? Is it woody? Is it oaky? When it's all heat, it's so hard to do that. Your mind just automatically goes to heat, and it's hard to get away from that. So that's really my main thing is there a lot of taste? Now, I love a good nose. That's definitely my favorite part, but for the most part, it's hard to get a nose to match a palate. Like, most of the picks, it's the best nose doesn't win. The best nose is not the best taste profile. So.
Yeah, I actually found out recently that like other people don't always nose whiskey, and I get that it's like a very drinker thing, but I don't know. I like, to me, a good nose can almost trump a subpar palate,
right?
Depending on what it is and like how it is. Well, like we were trying the samples you got into that Burrai from Art of Spirits,
yep.
in store. And then that first one had a really great nose.
Right.
And then the second one was like a little bit more, I think, balanced between nose and palate. But I think I still like that first one. Like on the nose, it was like really good. And then the palate was just kind of like, this.
Okay. It didn't deliver, but.
Yeah.
So.
That's hard. That's hard for me because nosing for me is like a super enjoyable aspect. But then if the palate, what's hard for me is if the nose is like really promising something amazing, and then the palate doesn't like show up. You know what I mean? Like that's super hard for me. So I get what you're saying. Like you got to pick the palate experience that's right. Like that has to be, even though nosing can be so enjoyable. I think.
Well, let's stop for comments real quick.
Oh yeah, we got some.
My beard is a topic of conversation.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Brian was like, read Brian's. John and Brandon should have a beard contest. Brian, why would you even say that? John's beard would demolish. It's already demolishing my beard. No, look at the difference.
It comes down to one thing, and it's that you won't let it get much past where it's at now because it's itchy and you can't handle that.
Well, and what happens is it starts to curl and it just kind of poofs out. Like it doesn't.
That's mine does.
Yeah, Brian. There's no beard contest. John wins. John wins that.
There are plenty of people that can grow a beard more than me. Just saying. There's a whole contest for it, and I will never be in it.
But I also legitimately don't think that my beard would grow out fuller and better than yours.
Fair point about John, but I feel like Brandon could somehow flex his face, and his beard could grow harder. That's awesome.
Just like sit there and like work my jaw muscles back and forth, like.
Just if you concentrate really hard.
I don't think so.
All right,
Gandy, what's up? I saw Gandy's in there.
Yep.
Gandy Road. Cheers. Glad you're here. We're talking to Nick from Sawable Spirits. Yep. So Nick runs Sawable Spirits and does all their barrel picks and everything. So we're asking him questions. Nick, a question that I had was like, if you could go back and like re-get one pick from the past, like, is there one? I mean, there's probably not just one, but like, what's one that stands out to you that's like, oh man?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Russells that I'm drinking right now is probably the one. I mean, a lot of good picks. My first Elijah Craig, the Donkey Kong here. Oh, sorry, that's my bad. The sun. Can you see that?
I need,
You're good.
I need
Yeah.
sunglasses.
That's I don't know where that's coming from. That's a popular one. I mean, guys definitely love that one. That was my
Wait.
first Elijah Craig pick, and people just went bonkers over it.
Did we have that at 717?
What?
The Elijah Craig?
Yeah, we've actually had both of your
Yeah.
Elijah Craig picks thanks to Vin Tran.
Yeah,
Yeah, Vin,
Yeah, you know
Vin
Vin,
comes down
yeah.
and grabs all your
Yeah.
picks, and
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
no. But you know, for me, I mean, just that pick. So I had 6 samples of Russells that day, and there was 2 that were just insanely good, and we settled on this one. But I think it was, you know, it was a great barrel. I mean, I don't know if you know, there's been very few. I've had a lot of Russell's picks over the years, and there's very few that I think hold up to it. But I would put it up against any pick, you know, if across the world. I mean, yeah. Hi, Addison.
Nice.
hey,
but I just think because it hits every mark, right? You know, nose, palate, finish, everything. It's just awesome.
do you know what Rick House it's from?
We can find out.
Probably says it on it.
Yeah, it might say it on the sticker. I'm not sure.
F.
Okay.
Floor 4.
Nice.
Shelby asks, do you still have some of that Russell's pick? I'm assuming that's well gone.
So that sold out. So the cool thing about that was, I put it up on the Maryland Bourbon Society page, and
MBS.
It got huge. I mean, it was one of the first ones to come out that year. Nobody had really seen any, so it got attention across, you know, the whole state. So I mean, I had guys driving up from Annapolis.
Okay.
So what I did, you know, as people were like, "Hey, I'm coming up to get one," I tried to put them aside to make sure nobody came up for no reason, and you know, more or less they sold out in a day. I mean, it was crazy. And I think that Saturday, you know, at any given time, we had like 50 people in the store coming in for the pick, you know, and it was awesome. It was a really, really cool experience.
It's crazy, dude. Especially like it's a drive for some people. Like it's an hour for me, and I consider it well worth it.
Right. Thank you. No, I mean, I would say, you know, the majority of my people aren't in a 30-mile radius. You know, I definitely have my normal guys that come up, and some new guys that, you know, lived in the area but didn't know we were there that come up. But you know, a lot of my go-to supporters are, you know, 45 minutes, an hour away.
Yeah.
I bet that's a crazy feeling to release something like that and the same day it's gone.
Oh,
it's just gone.
I mean, even the Elijah Craig. So the Elijah Craig that I did earlier this year, if I would have allowed people to buy more than 2 bottles, it would have been gone in a day. I mean, it was because you know, it was a 94 proof pick, but you know, for $30, you know, everybody was like, I'll take as many as I can get.
Oh yeah.
And it was a 10-year pick. You can't find a 10-year bourbon for that price point that's that quality. And that's where, you know, I appreciate Elijah Craig, because what they're putting out is fantastic, you know, as far as picks. You know, I saw you drinking your bottle of your own, and I like barrel proof, but I've only done 1 barrel proof pick because for the value, the 94 proofers are just too good.
Okay.
Well, and that's really, I've said for a long time, I think Elijah Craig, the regular small batch, right, the 94 proof, is one of the best like shelf bottles, whatever you call them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, 94 proof, you're not getting something that's, you know, 90 or 80 proof where, you know, it's just kind of watered down. Like, you still get a little bit of flavor. But I mean, you know, it's, to me, I think that's, you know, it's unbeatable. You just can't, you know, right now they vary from 8 to 10 years, you know, what you're getting pick wise, but still for an 8-year bourbon, you know, at that price point, you can't beat it.
Yeah. All right, so we got your Taconic pick here. I picked one up yesterday while I was out there.
I love this sticker.
The sticker is hysterical.
Cool, right? So yeah, that's the other thing. Everybody comes up for bourbon, and when they come up for bourbon, they get donuts. So this is it's a maple finished pick, and so I was like, you know, it kind of lends itself to some sweet donuts. So I was like, I got to do it.
Nice.
I got to be honest. The first time I came down, I was trying to get some donuts. But then your system was down, and I only had enough money for bourbon. So you save, you're your ATM or card system was down.
Yeah.
So
Do you design the stickers yourself?
I do. I work with the guy that does them for me. We kind
Mm.
of just throw out ideas, and I'll be like, "This is what I'm looking for," or if I have something very specific, like he'll put it together. And his name is Bob. He does a great job. He does a lot of stickers for a couple other stores
Okay.
on page. But and stickers is a whole different conversation, right? Like I love them. You know what I mean? And if it works, and if I have a great idea, then I'm going to do it. If I don't, or if it doesn't fit the bottle, then I'm not going to force it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I could, I would do a sticker on every bottle. But sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was just kind of a random brain thought of mine. Like,
Yeah.
no. Do you design those? Like, who designs?
It's definitely
stickers.
It's almost harder than picking the bourbon is designing the sticker, because so like for my Elijah Craig's, I always do Donkey Kong. So like this was my one earlier this year. So that's easy, right? So like every time I do one, it's going to be Donkey Kong. So that's
why Donkey Kong?
So what I try to do when I did the first one, I had a theme of like Nintendo going on. So I did I did a Whistle Pig. So I did sorry, where's the light at? Pig Hunt.
If you sit back a little bit, it won't be as sit back and put the pick over your face.
Nope.
There you go.
There it is.
Okay, so Duck Hunt.
Yeah, Duck Hunt, but I did Pig Hunt. So like I just kind of had a Nintendo theme, right? So and then I rolled with Donkey Kong, and then the Donkey Kong Elijah Craig pick just blew up. It was like nobody called it Elijah Craig. They're like, oh, the DK pick, like that's what it was. So when I did the next one, I was like, oh, I got to do Donkey Kong again, and then it just kind of steamrolled from there. So
I love that. That's awesome.
It makes it easy right now. I'm like, okay, I just got to figure out what kind of Donkey Kong do I want to do. But
all right, so one of our buddies, Brian, says best store pick currently in stock at Saubles.
Ooh, hard. I got a few. So I do have some of the Taconic left that you're drinking now.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Duke bourbon, which is kind of an unknown, but it is a 10-year pick. It's from Kentucky. A lot of people kind of don't know that. It's not sourced. It's not MGP. It's Kentucky juice.
That's Green River, right? I think I looked it up today.
Nobody knows for sure. They don't really say it for sure, but
so on their website they say the Oz Tyler Distillery, which is now Green River.
So, yeah, right. So that could be currently, right? So I don't know if the older stuff is different, if the newer stuff's, because like they do, the 5-year, regular shelfie that's, probably from them now. To be honest, I don't know where the 10-year juice came from, but it's finished in Cabernet barrels, and it's, I think it's just awesome. Great nose. It's probably one of my favorite nose of any of my picks that I've done. Mm-hmm. It just smells like bourbon should smell like. You know what I mean? Like if you gave someone that doesn't drink bourbon a glass and said, "What does it smell like?" I feel like they'd say bourbon. The Art of the Spirits that you drank earlier, I think if you're a whiskey drinker and you're looking for something that's really going to deliver, I think that's the winner.
Dude, it's so good. Brandon, what did you think of that? Because we didn't really talk about it.
Robust. Yeah, what'd you think, Brandon?
Oh, I loved it. It was great, and it was the flavors were like I got like dark fruit notes, like kind of like plum, kind of like some like maybe dark cherries, like just very, and it's like vanilla, like very sweet, and like you said, so it was interesting. I'm expecting it's a higher proof MGP, so I'm expecting, more of that ethanol, more of that alcohol kick, and like it really didn't drink hot at all. Yeah, which is like pretty cool. Like it was very good.
That's what I love. Yeah. What do you think of the Taconic?
So I initially got like bubble gum on the nose, but now I get like Krispy Kreme donuts. Like I get it. Yep.
Yeah, this is super this is like buttery, like vanilla-y to me. I think this is really, really good too. Yeah. Like both
it's
of these.
It's fun. I mean, for 5 years, 115 proof, and I think the maple finish helps mellow that youngness that it could have, right? 5-year 115, it could be super grainy, it could be, too hot, but that finish it's not sweet, it's not like overly sweet, right? It's not Knob Creek maple, it's not, Jim Beam maple. It just mellows it.
It doesn't taste flavored.
Yeah.
It just, and you get a little, like I get a little pop of that proof on the back of the palate. I really like
Right.
it. Like I enjoy that a lot. That's very good.
Our friend Sherry's here somewhere, and she loves honey picks. And
Uh-huh.
Sherry, you should go pick one of these up. They're fantastic. I think it'll be right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So what is the maple finish?
So what they do is they take a barrel and they coat it with New York maple syrup. So, hi Ben.
Okay.
Whoa. You have my
Um,
full attention.
so it's legit. It's not Aunt Jemima, right? I mean, it's not
Right.
fake sugar added stuff. It's
Mhm.
legit maple syrup. Then they put the bourbon. They refill the barrel for about 5 months, give or take, and then they package it and send it to me. The barrel, you could tell, like when because I get the actual barrel, and you just see it leaking out of the sides. I mean, it looks like it had it in it. It was beat up. I mean, it was just every crevice that it could leak from, it was leaking from. So that was pretty
Nice.
cool.
Okay, I'm gonna say the best pick of your store picks that I've had is it's a toss up between the Duke and that Art of Spirits bourbon. That
Yeah.
Duke is surprisingly good.
Right?
Yeah,
It's like it just only gets better. You know what I mean? The more it's open, I think you guys touched on that a little bit about things being open and changing.
Yeah.
I think they definitely change, like 100%. I mean,
Okay.
I've had great bottles that I had them for 2 years, and I'm like, this doesn't taste like what I remember. I think there's a couple different factors that could do that, but all in all, I think as you taste something, if it is changing for the worse, then I always add it. I'll put it in a different bottle. I'll have a smaller thing that I'll add it to keep it where it is. But some things, like that 792 pick that I gave you, the sample, that's an old pick, but it's only gotten better. It's actually gotten phenomenal. Not that it wasn't good before, but it's only gotten better. But again, being 125 proof, I think it holds up to that.
Yeah, that'll be our next one, and then we do have your Old Forester pick back here. That'll be our last one that we try of yours.
Oh jeez. I
It's
love Old
great,
Forester, man.
But that Art of Spirits pick blew my socks off, man. It's fantastic.
It's really cool, and I'm proud to do that because it was the first pick in the state. It was something I kind of reached on because no one's ever heard of it, right?
Right.
Most people are like, I've never heard of this, I've never seen it. Very few guys have even remotely kind of heard of it or had any of their products. So, but I just thought what they offered was really cool and different. So.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the military side of his branding and stuff.
Well, and he, he actually just came down last week, and what he does is anybody that does a barrel pick, he comes to your store, your area, and picks a veteran to take out and like kind of like a shopping spree. So like if it's a veteran in need, he'll go and buy him groceries and stuff. So he took out a lady, and bought her all kinds of stuff. Because we bought a barrel, like he's kind of giving back for it. So I think that's fantastic.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay, so I have another listener pick here or question. Okay. Is there a pick that you thought would blow out but didn't meet your expectations? Let me read that again because I suck. Is there a pick that you thought would blow out that didn't meet your expectations, like sales wise? I think we're going from.
No, so perfect example, right, is the Duke. You loved it, right? The yield on the Duke was 300 bottles, which is almost like 2 picks. When you do that wine finish, it doesn't, kind of like a maker's pick. Maker's picks are usually over 200 bottles. They're easily 240, 250 because it doesn't age anymore. It's not evaporating, you're not losing anything. You're getting the full barrel. So, while I've sold more than 2/3 of that Duke barrel, I still have some left just because it was a huge yield. So, but that's a cool thing to have. When people come in, I still have a good pick. You never want to not have any picks. You don't want to have too many picks, but hey, I have this. It's not because it didn't sell; it's just because I have a lot of it. You never know. Elijah Craig pick that I did earlier this year. 94 proof. You figure that's going to yield a lot of bottles. It didn't. It was sub 140. So you just never
know. A really short barrel. Wow,
you just never know.
So what is what do they say is the max on an Elijah Craig barrel, just to put it in perspective for people?
I think it's, there's really no, again, depending on what it is, right? Barrel proof's obviously theoretically going to be less, right? But you just never know. There's outlying factors. Was the barrel leaky?
Mm-hmm.
Was did something happen when they were bottling it? You just never know. And obviously, that don't have to tell you that. But usually, for me, if I get a barrel in and the yield was low, I look at the barrel and I'm like, all right, does it look like it's really leaky? And actually that Elijah Craig barrel was beat up. I mean, you could tell it was, not maybe the perfectly sealed barrel. So a lot of that bourbon just leaked out.
So I was more speaking specifically about like the Elijah Craig 94 proofs. Do they give you like a range of what it should be?
No, not really. I mean, so most of the distilleries never want to promise anything, right? Like they never want to promise a timetable for when it's going to be there and how many bottles you're going to get, because you just don't know.
Right.
And then they don't want. Oh, well, you said I'd have 200 bottles. Where's my 200 bottles at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't want anything like that, which I understand. Right. But yeah, no. I mean, what's funny is there's the younger picks that you can do. They'll say, "Oh yeah, it's 40 cases or it's 35 cases." Like they know it off the bat, because what they've done is, they know the yield's higher, so they'll just pick a number and that's it. It could have yielded more, but they'll be like, "Oh nope, you're getting 35 cases. That's it." Right. So, and that's again usually the younger, 4-year picks, that they offer you. It's a set amount.
All right, so we kind of set up tonight to do a little bit of talk about like the state of the industry. Like Brandon talked a little bit before about his time in Kentucky. We were kind of like trying to figure out what we were going to do with this, and with having you on and seeing like the retail side of things and having Brandon just be in Kentucky, we wanted to talk a little bit about the actual bourbon industry and like your side of things on retail. So I got a couple of questions linked to that. We're going to start with what do you think the state of the industry is currently from like your retail side of things?
So, I mean, definitely in the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen so many new guys getting into bourbon that, everybody says, oh, the bubble's going to burst, right? Well, I don't think there's a bubble. I think whiskey's going to sell, and there's so many people that, are getting into it, right, that are only asking for Blanton's and Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare, right? Because that's what they hear about. But they have yet to experience a lot of other things. So there's still a multitude of products that they've never tried yet. So to say the bubbles, could burst, I don't think that's right, because there's so many new guys getting into it that haven't tried stuff. They just need to be, willing to try it or watch, podcasts or shows like this. And you guys say, hey, you should try this bourbon. Like, stop looking for this stuff. Try this because you can find it on the shelf. And, I think what you've found is less people buying everything and more people being a little picky and choosy, or coming in and asking, hey, what should I try? Or, hey, the guys that know about store picks, hey, what good store picks do you have? Or, when I offer them, hey, do you want to try this? And they're like, oh, like I've never heard of any of these, these are fantastic. And I'm like, well, that's what you should look for, So I think, bourbon's going to be healthy for a while, especially, once Buffalo Trace, all their stuff comes of age that they've doubled production for, and you see it more readily available. It's just going to bring more people in, people that couldn't find a Buffalo Trace or still can't, they're going to find it and they say, I love that. Now what's next? So I think there's always, compared it to vodka, right, where you can only come out with so many flavors, and then it's like, okay, we're stuck, whatever, we're done, right? Bourbon, you can do so much with it, and every single barrel is going to be different, and every season that changes will bring up new barrels that taste differently. So.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think there's a bubble. I think you will see one of two things start happening in the industry. Like, this is just my predictions from the outside. I obviously have no information other than like what I see and what I glean. But I think you'll start to see some of those MGP sourced non-distilling producers, like we were talking about Old Soul.
Right.
You know, they're popping up like weeds. I think you'll
Right.
see those start to go away first.
Correct.
And people interested more in, you know, the more Buffalo Trace, the more Heaven Hills, the more stuff that you can now get that you couldn't before.
Right. Right.
So-
And like, so like, for example, the Art of the Spirits, right? Like he's trying to do new things, you know, he's trying to
Mhm.
change the times, right? You know, and we kind of talked about this a little bit. You know, Jack Daniel's coming out with age stated bourbon, right? Like, or whiskey. You know, they're changing. They've learned, hey, this is what the mass audience wants. We're gonna
Yep.
roll. We're gonna do this. We're gonna put it out there. So like, if you have distilleries that are gonna keep doing that, you know, Heaven Hill putting out 17 and 20-year stuff. You know, did anybody
Yeah.
want 20-year corn whiskey? I don't know, but it's different, right? Like no
No.
one's done it.
The answer's
So,
no.
but
Yeah, I haven't been
it's,
able to try that yet, but I'm not super psyched to try 20-year-old
I'll be
metal
honest,
corn.
it's good. It's
Okay.
a good
Is it?
product. Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know, the best way I can describe it is if you had Heaven Hill 20 and Heaven Hill 17 on the shelf, and you could buy as many as you wanted all the time, anytime, didn't matter. People
Yeah.
would continuously buy 17-year. They would probably buy
Okay.
one 20-year, and they'd be happy with
Mm.
that. And they drink it, and they'd be
Mm.
like, I don't need another one. That's
Gotcha.
there's nothing wrong with that, but the 17-year was that good where
Mhm.
you want more of that product. You want to keep drinking that profile. Where the 20-year just, it's good, but you need another one.
So, all right. So I have a question. And before that, I don't know if Sherry's still in here, but she said she was popping off. She said everything's been very informative. So that's super cool. Thanks for
Nice.
being here, Sherry, of course. Great friend of the channel.
Found it.
Found it.
Gandhi says, Duke sounds amazing. Do you ship out of state? I'm assuming the answer is no.
Sadly, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer. That's tough.
Dane wants to know, what are some of the picks that Nick has in the pipeline?
So I'll tease a few.
Okay.
I do have one of the cool ones I did was so I already talked about it, was the Stranahan's.
Mhm.
It's a single malt, right? Which is kind of a newer thing coming up, right? Everybody's kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting some traction, right?
Yeah.
In Maryland we have Old Line who does single malt products,
Yep.
and they have a good little following down there. It's unique. It's barrel proof. There's only 4 picks in the state.
Okay.
I'm the only one kind of on the northern area of the state. So,
Mhm.
but that's kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's something that hasn't been around, hasn't been in our market. So if that's your profile, that if you want to try something different, it's an option to have. The price point's great. It's like $50. So they're not blowing out of the water. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a really good product. Like I was really happy with it. I have 2 Oak and Edens coming. That's kind of a newer product to our state.
Yep.
I know PA, maybe you have 1 or 2 SKUs available. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think we do. I don't think we
Even
carry any
any?
Oak and Eden.
I definitely have gotten some guys that have come down and said, we can't find it. So, and I think it's a great, not beginner bourbon, but I think it's a great introductory bourbon to people that are kind of
Okay.
like moving up because it's got a lot of flavor. It's 90 proof. It's not the regular offerings. So my picks are going to be barrel strength, but I did 2. So the one I did, kind of timing worked out. So Penelope Rio came out, and everybody wanted it, and you couldn't find it. Right? And one of the picks that they offered is Amber Wood finish, which is similar to what the Rio is, less the honey finish, but it's very similar. I tried my sample of Rio side by side with the sample of Oak and Eden, and that cinnamon you get from Amber Wood is very similar in both picks or both samples. So I was like, I think for the price point of this, I think it's a great way to, if you didn't get a Rio or you really wanted a Rio, you tried it, and you couldn't find it. I think this pick's going to be a great offering to, they're both MGB products. They're both similar in age. I mean, I don't know exactly what Rio is, but Oak and Eden's 4-year. I can't imagine the Rio is much older than that.
Yeah. What Penelope's been putting out like 4-ish year juice.
Right.
Now,
it's pretty similar to that. So I'm like, it's going to be very similar to that profile. So I was like, I think, and it's a low yield too. It's 120 bottles, right? So they're one of those ones because they do the in bottle finishing. that's what they offer. They're like, it's 120 bottles. That's what you get, which was great. I was like, that's, not a absorbent amount of bottles where I'm going to feel like I'm stuck with it.
Right.
And it's a bottle that, do you need more than one? Unless you love it, probably not, but it's unique to have. I don't think anybody's going to want to have, 10 Rios to drink, you know what I mean? But so that's cool. I'm excited for that because I think it's going to offer, that profile point, which you can't really get in any other shelf product that is out there right now.
Right. Yeah. So you let me know when that comes in and I'll be down.
Sure. Absolutely.
I have a Nulu Amburana that's fantastic.
Right. No,
yeah,
and
I feel like I want one of those too.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty amazing.
So the other one I did, they allowed me to do kind of a half barrel, which was 60 bottles, which I thought was cool. So the cool thing, again, back to the maker's idea of being able to blend your own with Oak and Eden, you can pick, you pick the mash bill, right? So both of my Oak and Edens are wheated.
Okay.
You can pick the barrel finish. So the barrel, sorry. So you can pick American oak or French oak. Typically in your French oaks, you get a little bit more creaminess. So, so I did wheated French oak and orange liqueur and cognac finish. So it's unique. It's fun. It's different.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dessert bourbon almost. But for 60 bottles, I thought it was cool to kind of have a unique expression to offer for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those both sound very interesting. Like,
and again,
cool.
They're going to be open. They're going to be able to try them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's not your jam, it's not your jam. But it'll be something that's, you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. So,
is there a place people can like know when stuff's dropping? Have any idea, or is it
so
just kind of like?
So we touched on before. So I do a lot of stuff on the Maryland Bourbon Society page. If you're not a member on that, we do have a Facebook page for the store, Solvable Spirits. I will, when I get barrels in, I will put it on there. So you can follow that page and usually, for the weekend, like, I don't typically release them midweek. Usually I'll wait till like, Friday. So I'll tease it Thursday, say, hey, Friday, it'll be on the shelves, come and get it.
Yeah. And you do fresh case Fridays too, where you,
I do. So usually
anything
cool that I get in or unique or new, I'll throw in my case and, we call it fresh case Fridays. And I'll throw that up on the page, and it gets a little traction.
Yeah. So we actually we finished the Taconic. I guess to put a pin in that, it's fantastic.
Yep. Oh yeah,
worth.
That was awesome.
Well worth what you're charging for it. I think it was
$55.
$60.
55, 60, tax.
Yeah, dude, it's fantastic. You gave me this sample of 1792 Foolproof of your. What is the pick called?
Right here. So, sorry, this sun is killing me here.
Just put it in front of your face.
No, face.
Perfect. Yep. Darth Vader, nice.
So Vader, yep. So the Foolproof is strong with this one. So it's a Foolproof.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
It's that was one of the early picks I did when the Maryland Bourbon Society page started, and it was actually right during COVID. So I released it. And then I had a lot of guys like messaging me like, hey, I want to come up and get this pick, but it's COVID and I don't know if I want to go out. And, it was weird times. So I wound up pulling it off the shelves after like a week or two-ish. And and I re-released it later that season after kind of things calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
But what I did was I put it out there on the page, hey, what do you want to see? Do you want to see a bottle of Bond pick or a Foolproof pick? Because they offer both, and everybody was like, "Got to do Foolproof." So that's what I went with. And at the time, I wasn't a huge fan of Foolproof. I like Bottle and Bond myself, but I'm with the group, and it's a good pick, right? So I kind of just, I nipped it here and there, but I'm like, it's kind of hot, But going back to it, it's fantastic. Like I think it's only gotten 10 times better since I picked it.
Dude, it's crazy. It was like I initially just poured it and it smelled like butterscotch and vanilla, and now it's gotten like a fruitiness to it. It actually, I know it's obviously 1792 Barton is owned by Sazerac, but they're a different distillery. But this, you could convince me, is a stag.
Dude,
Like
literally,
yeah.
literally hot fruit on the nose.
Hot fruit,
That's what
yeah.
I was gonna say.
It has
Hot
crazy
fruit,
grape
man.
notes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but so okay, so John and I, we do a segment on our YouTube channel called "Do I Like This," and it's a short, and we pour each other blind things, and then we taste it, and literally just are like, "Do I like this?" Yes. John poured me a Liquor Barn foolproof pick like a month ago.
Yeah.
You remember
I
that?
did. Yep.
And literally my nosing notes were like, dude, I'm getting like stag vibes. I don't know what it is, but it could be a stag.
Yeah.
This is the same. This is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Like, so good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
this
cool.
Is awesome.
Yeah. Moral of the story: if you're in here and you're not going to Sawballs, what are you doing?
Yeah. Also, moral of the story: if you love stag and you can't get stag, get some like 1792 foolproofs. Find some picks somewhere.
That is a hot take.
I mean, dude, two times now.
Yeah.
Stag vibes. I don't know.
I mean,
this is delicious.
Think at that proof, right? Like, I think, 792 is one of the ones that, it drinks to that proof. You drink this and it's like, it's up there. It's over the 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's,
I think this pick is probably from roughly that time too, because when did we go to Kentucky, babe? We went early 2021. So
say yes.
So yeah, it would have been roughly about a year or so from your pick. So
because you got yours, you got the one that you poured me at Liquor Barn. That's why you're saying that.
The first time in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Actually, the Shelbyville Road one that you went to. So it might have been the second time.
Dude, this mouth experience for me, like with the proof and the flavor, I like a hot whiskey typically because it's part of that, like the viscosity is important to me, and like the proofiness, the way like you experience it in your top of your palate, and
right.
Like this is really good.
The cheeks.
Yes, yeah, I really like it. It's very enjoyable. So anyway, if you've never gone down to Sawballs, my recommendation is get down there and get some picks, because I'm definitely going to be doing that. Like, I can't wait to come down. Very impressed, man.
Yeah.
Very impressed. Thanks for also sharing that. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're talking about whiskey industry, stuff like that. Do you think, so you talk about Oak and Eden a little bit, and Stranahan's. Stranahan's is interesting because they're from Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And we see some of their stuff in PA. I've never tried any of it because I am always hesitant to give. Like, I was just talking to John about this. I want craft to win. Like, I want there to be amazing craft. But like all of the young stuff is like not good. And I understand the difference between craft competing with legacy distilleries, and you know what I mean. So, but are there other like, let's say outside, or if it's Stranahan's and Oak and Eden, if this is the answer to the question, like are there brands that you see that are up and coming that you think are going to be big in the future? So
one of the other picks that I've done that I haven't talked about yet is Bull Run. I don't know if you're familiar with Bull Run. Their MGP as well.
John's just wrecking stuff in the back.
I see that.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was trying to fix the and then I destroyed everything. So that's pretty much how things go around here. Please continue.
No, you're good. You're good. Bull Run has old juice, right? Like, so their regular, shelf offerings, they have a couple, but the two prime ones are a 14-year whiskey and a 15-year whiskey that's finished in Pinot Noir barrels, and they're sub $60. Like, they're fantastic, right? So, like, they're doing things such a different way. They have all this old juice, but they're not overcharging for it. They could easily charge $100 for that bottle, and sell it, but not sell as much, right? But they're still small because of that. They don't want to just take the world by storm, right? Like, they're not trying to be the next legacy distillery. They're just happy with what they have and slowly putting it out. And a friend of mine brought me some a pick that he'd gotten a couple years back that was a Pinot Noir finish. And we tried all kind of stuff that day, and I was like, this Pinot Noir finish is the winner. Like, it's fantastic, and I've never heard of it before. Like, we had turkey stuff, we had all kind of crazy stuff, and I'm like, this bottle here is the winner. So we've been trying to like do picks and get a pick in the state, and finally this year, earlier this year, they came to the state, and we were able to get some samples. And crazily enough, I really like the Pinot Noir finish typically, but the regular whiskey sample that I got, I thought was really good, and I went with that. But it's going to be, it's a 14-year whiskey for sub $60, and I was like, you can't pass it up.
Wow, that's awesome. Where are they located? I've never heard of them.
Oregon.
Okay.
And nice. I only know this because we were talking about it yesterday, but they have a kind of unique mash bill that they're using too.
Yeah, so it's 95 corn and 5 barley.
Okay. And you said that's MGP sourced, so it's probably
it is. Yep, it is.
The stuff that they were going to blend into Seagram 7 that then they didn't sell Seagram 7 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can make Yeah, sorry. Actually, so the sample that I did is 96 corn and 4 malt. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
It's 118 proof.
Wow.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, the light whiskey is 99 corn, 1% malted barley, I think. Might be 1% rye. I can't remember.
Right.
Just to bring up some comments, we've had some good ones. Not sure how access works for Nick/Sawbles. Is there a certain pick that's on your bucket list, but you just can't get?
So obviously one of them was Old Forester, which I was lucky enough to do. I had to put in a little work and got that done, and that was fantastic. We got to go down and do that pick at Old Forester, and it was an awesome time. It's really cool experience, and I loved it. I was super excited for it.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it, so we're drinking it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned that for me there. There may be a few that were on my bucket list that I was able to check off this year that might be coming later in the year.
Teasing.
If you come in and support, maybe you'll get lucky enough to get on that list. But I mean, I would say, the crazy ones, right? Like, a Stag Junior pick, an E.H. Taylor pick, right? Like that's on everybody's list. I would love to do either one of those.
Do you have to join the SBS and do you get lottery that way just like everyone else does, or do you get access to Buffalo Trace through your distributor?
No. Through my distributor. That's all. It's all based off of sales, right? Most of your legacy distilleries, the way they offer you picks is based on sales. You support them, and you're going to get rewarded from that. And you know that. So it's you either choose to support or you don't. So if you're not getting offered picks, it's because you're not supporting. And Elijah Craig's a great one, right? Like if you're not selling regular Elijah Craig, you're not selling Larceny, you're not selling Evan Williams, like then you don't deserve a pick, right? But yeah, it's changed. Here in Maryland, we've changed distributors this year for Sazerac, so you kind of have a new distributor taking over, and they have kind of a different way to do things, but it's it remains to be seen how it's going to turn out for years and years to come, and how things will change. Right. Hopefully, with them, with Buffalo Trace in particular, adding more rick houses and stuff, hopefully it gives people more access to better picks. Maybe you see more Stag Junior picks. Maybe you see more E.H. Taylor picks out there because they have more to offer.
Yeah. The stat that I heard recently, I think it was on Bourbon Junkies and Other Pour, somebody was talking about it. They said that Buffalo Trace is filling 2,000 barrels a day.
Oh yeah. So when we did the Old Forester pick, we went down there and it's literally doubling production. But you got to throw in that it's got to age. So it's not going to be next year that you see that. I feel like you'll see. The benchmark line maybe more available in more states first. Like that'll be the slow iteration, right? You're not going to just see Buffalo Trace everywhere. You'll see something that's a little bit easier to do. Get out everywhere.
Yep.
But I think sorry.
Does your distributor, does Maryland even have the benchmark line aside from the regular
benchmark? No. So and again, I think that's one of those ones you'll see. That's down the road, in the next 2-3 years, maybe here you go. Here it is. We have more to offer.
Yep. I think that's it for our.
Oh, there's more stuff.
Well,
We're just catching up on chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're catching
That's
up
good.
on our chat.
I'm gonna grab some
Pops up here.
Forester too.
Now you're good, man.
Whoa, Bourbon Bill joining late. What's up, Bourbon Bill?
Bourbon Bill is in the house. If you haven't mentioned it in a while, we haven't mentioned it, I don't think, since the beginning. If you drop a comment, you are entered to win merch from us, probably a t-shirt, possibly a Blanton's Mini. I have a couple of those floating around,
That's
so
cool. That's really
you
cool.
can prove that you are of liquor buying age.
Some stuff.
Dane says 2,400 barrels a day from FBT is what our tour guide said. Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is on par with like Old Forester, I think. That was crazy to me because Dane and I were in Kentucky last week, and that was my first time there. Dane's first time there too. And so we did a bunch of distillery tours. It was amazing, right? Louisville is crazy, Frankfurt,
Right.
Bardstown. What was crazy to me is like realizing that Buffalo Trace is just now getting to the volume that like some of these guys like Heaven Hill, Jim Beam, like Old Forester have been at Evan Williams. Well,
For
Evan
years,
Williams being a part of Heaven Hill, right? For years. And it's like, wow, like I didn't realize what the difference in production
was
like ability was. Yeah. It's super
and
crazy.
you know, part of that is the water, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to have access to a certain amount of water, you know, and it's, you know, kind of like California with, you know, water rights and with wineries, you know, it's a big deal, right? Like you have big wineries that will buy other wineries just to take their water rights. They could care less about the wine. So, but similar thing, you know, when we were down there, they were telling like that was a big deal. You know, they couldn't just say, oh, we're going to start, you know, producing twice as much bourbon now. Like they had to get, you know, set up a process to where, hey, we're not going to just steal all this water and it's going to cause a problem down the road. So,
yeah. Plus, you got to figure out how to filter that much in a day and all that stuff because you're not taking it straight from the river.
Yeah.
So, Bourbon Bill's another YouTuber. He's a friend of ours. Said it's time I win a T-shirt or a full, as I call them. I don't really understand what he's trying to rip on us for, but I'm sure he's harassing us.
He's always making fun of us.
He's always making fun of Brandon's love for young
For
MVP,
me, anyway.
So.
Yeah. I like Penelope Architects, and Bourbon Bill does not. So.
Oh,
it's fun.
I like Architect. I think it's a good bottle. I like Penelope. I mean, we did a couple toasted picks from them, and I thought they were cool guys. I thought they did a really good job. I thought, you know, they really have their thumb on the pulse of what people want, right? Like they push toasted out because everybody wants toasted, right? So they're like, here's toasted, you know? So, you know, I think, you know, love it or hate it, at least they're putting product out that people are looking for or different things that people want. And they're being successful at it. Obviously, you know, they got bought by MGP, so they did well enough to get acquired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And I would say, I think they're toasted. I think 3 of their toasted 4 grains last year.
Mm-hmm.
And those were amazing. I think those are objectively, well, at least for me, I think they punch above the Architects. And John and Bourbon Bill feel similarly about Architects, and so they would say it tastes like 4-year-old, like young whiskey, right? With some kind of a French oak finish on it.
Right.
For me, I do taste the youth, but it's not the like grainy, grassy youth notes that are off-putting to me. So as long as that's not there, even though it tastes younger, like I do taste the youth in it.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the French oak finish and enjoy them. So.
Yeah, I think the finish helps that, you know, like it's not, to your point, just regular, you know, young juice. It's just all grainy. It's just, you know, and that's, I hate that note. And you know, there's a lot of things, you know, barrel picks will come in and I'm like, it's grainy. I don't want it. Like it's, that's it. You just take it away. I don't need it, you know, whatever. But again, you know, to their credit, you know, they've learned how to kind of tweak it to where they, you know, it's not so off-putting, right?
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's not bad for a $60 whiskey, but I mean, in that price point, I'd rather have Knob Creek, or I'd rather like the Knob Creek single barrels, or I'd rather have Maker's 46 cast strength.
Yeah, right, exactly right.
Yeah, so to me, like if I'm shelling out money, and this is a whole conversation on craft as a whole, right?
Right.
They call it the craft tax. So
Right.
craft
Exactly.
costs
Exactly right.
more because it costs them to
more.
make it.
Mhm.
And my whole thing for a while now has been like, I'm with Brandon. I want to like craft. I want to like small distilleries. We all want to root for the underdog. But a lot of them just aren't putting out whiskey as good as the legacy distilleries.
Right.
And
Well,
they're putting it out at a higher price.
Correct. And that's why, that's usually that's the thing I throw at different distillers that come in to pitch picks or whatever. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying you have to be Buffalo Trace because you're not going to beat their pricing. You're not going to beat Elijah Craig's pricing, but you got to offer something else. It's got to be something different. So at least, with Penelope, right? It was toasted. I can't get an Elijah Craig toasted pick. So if I need a toasted
that's
pick,
a good way to look at it.
Right. And a Nulu toasted pick is more expensive and it's not as good.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right.
So, okay, Penelope it is, and, that's one of the picks that, surprisingly enough, everybody would want more of the Old Forester. Everybody would want more of the Russells. But I get a lot of ask for the Penelope pick. Like, they're like, we like your picks. We would love if you did another one. You know what I mean? But because I think, it was unique and different at the time, and it was a higher proof toasted, which was different compared to the Basil Hayden and the Elijah Craig, which are lower proof. So it gave the bourbon drinkers what they wanted. They wanted the proof and they wanted toasted, and it was a win.
Yeah. Next time I'm down, I'm going to bring you a Wheel Horse toasted sample.
Okay.
That's from Green River sourced, and it is fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some Wheel Horse, I think, not toasted.
Yeah. I don't think they're available in Maryland, if I remember right. Because we had talked about Blue Note. Blue Note's not available in Maryland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's another one, right? Like, you're going back to the future, right? There's so many brands that aren't available in every state, right? You got Blue Note, you got Smoke Wagon that, eventually if they get nationwide, that's a whole nother boom where, people now are, buying them out of state and shipping them or whatever. But, if they get to a point where they can ship or become in every state, you're going to get that influx again. So there's still good ones that aren't available everywhere that can, keep bourbon alive, if you want to say that.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think I like the idea of what Penelope's doing. I just don't like necessarily the end product.
Right.
But that's just me. I don't.
Have you tried them all? Have you tried like everything they've come out with, all the releases?
I've had the gray release toasted. I've had the black release, which is single barrel toasted, right? I've had I think I've had all 6 of the Architects at one point or another.
Probably. I don't think I've had one. I've had 2 through 6.
I've had the Rosé, and I hated that.
I haven't tried. So I haven't tried their others, like the Rosé, the Rio, the Valencia. Right. Like a lot of those.
Valencia, I thought was really fun.
Tried.
I thought that was a really cool bottle. And the light whiskey. I thought the light whiskey was probably the best thing they've put out. And again, that was so like they talked to me about that when I was up to do my pick, and they were like, we had access to this and we did it, and they can't repeat that, right? Like that was old juice they got, they put it out, and that's it. It's gone. But it was fantastic. Like they were smart enough to say, yes, we'll take that and we'll bottle it and sell it.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool about the acquisition, right? In my mind, they're just going to have the brand Penelope, right, is now under the MGP or Ross and Squibb, whatever umbrella. Now they're going to have access to better barrels, right? And and Ross and Squibb is just going to leverage the Penelope marketing that has built a great popular brand that people like. To me, I think my guess is that Penelope offerings will get better.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll see more new, hopefully better things.
Well, and it'll depend. Yeah. It depends, I think, on what happens with it, because now that they're owned by an actual distillery, especially the one that they were sourcing from, it's kind of a different animal. But if you look at High West got bought by Constellation, and then they started putting out crazy stuff that no one likes. Their American single malt is awful.
People don't like some of those. But what the Penelope guys have said, at least in interviews that I've listened to, is that Ross and Squibb was very much like, keep your team, you guys keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
We're just going to help you do what you're doing. So And
But
I don't know anything about the High West acquisition
Yeah.
or like if that was the situation or not. I'm hopeful because I like Penelope. I'm hopeful that the sourcing is just going to get even better. And
But
the juice is going
the
to get
question
better.
is like, so when you're operating as your own thing, you can kind of tailor like, okay, we're going to make these profits, but we're going to grow small and put it back into the business. When
Right.
you're owned by somebody, they want you to make profits right away. And that's like markedly what people are saying about High West is that when they got bought by Constellations, it was like, okay, put your stuff out now, start pushing our profits so that we can make the money back that we spent acquiring you. And I don't know if it'll be the same way with Penelope being as like they're owned now by the person that they were sourcing from. That's a whole different ball game.
So
But I'm
I
just
would
saying,
say,
like, yeah. Go ahead,
to,
Nick.
to your point, right? So Constellation is a bigger corporate entity, right?
Yeah.
They don't just deal with whiskey, right? They have all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff, right? So to their point, they're focused on money. Where MGP, at the end of the day, is a whiskey company, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't really have their hands in other stuff. So hopefully, right? Because you don't know. Yes, they want their money back, but they acquire Penelope because they said, look, we're selling all this bourbon to everybody else and they're making
Mhm.
the money.
Yeah.
Penelope's done the best with it, right? As far as
Yeah.
marketing, as far as, getting product out there and people liking it. Why not just buy them and then and then make all the money for ourselves instead of continuously selling them product and seeing them become bigger than we are? Because at the end of the
Right.
day, yeah, they weren't bigger than Lux Row. Obviously, that's a different story. But they were
Right.
bigger than MGP brands. Like they were bigger than Rossville and they were bigger than Remus. I think, as far as want and demand from the consumer.
Yeah.
So hopefully, right, they'll let them, like what Brandon said, do their own thing and continuously just
Yeah.
do what they do and make it better, right?
Yeah. So I heard an interesting statistic yesterday. Well, I know I always talk about this. I do listen to other podcasts other than the Bourbon Junkies one, but the specific one that I was listening to posited that half of the vodka industry is sourced from MGP also. So like, because they can just crank it out. They said like they posited that Tito's is actually MGP sourced, and like a bunch of other stuff.
Really?
So yeah. So gin too, because gin you can do the stripping.
Any distillery can make gin.
Right. But they were saying that, like, why would you bother putting up your own when MGP can source it for, I think they said it was like $2 a gallon to make vodka. And it was like,
Right.
I had never thought about MGP doing other spirits too. But, I mean, it makes sense because vodka is way cheaper to make than whiskey is.
You're not aging it, right?
Right.
You're
Well, even still, it's just one ingredient.
Right.
And it's 3 distillations and that's it. Like you don't have to wait as long for it to ferment, and
Right.
you don't have to worry about like buying the corn. Like it is whatever ingredient, and then you just distill it until it's good, basically. So that was interesting to me. I had a train of thought and it's gone now.
I don't know. I listened to some of that podcast too. That was super interesting. I'm distracted reading chat. We got a little.
Yeah, let's talk about the chat
so
a little bit.
I apologize.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Ken says Nick Roberts is the man. Love the store picks and the hospitality. Bourbon Bill has responded to the foals. It is mini Blantons. Call them foals instead of horses.
Right.
Nice.
Don't sleep on the Duke pick. Had to get a second. I always come down there with the intention of buying a Duke pick, and then you con me into buying something else. I'm with Brandon on the Architects. Jeff.
My guy Jeff representing.
Faith says Wheel Horse Toasted is delicious. 10 of 10 recommend.
There you go.
Dean says, I think eventually, and maybe this is just stating the obvious, you'll see a boom in micro/craft distillery quality as their juice ages and they perfect their processes. I'm not convinced that's true.
I'd agree there.
Okay, Nick, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't see, because the really small ones, right? They don't have the ability to sit on it. They have to pull it out to make the money on it, or it's not worth doing it. So they might have 1 or 2 barrels chilling that they'll come out with a special thing and have almost a single barrel release of it. but they're not going to put out multiple barrels of something that's a 8-year product. I just don't think they have the ability to do that because as they continuously buy, say from MGP, it's just going to get more expensive. So
yeah, and even when they start to make their own, I think like the point has been that you get it to a point where it's sellable and then you sell it, because that's where the industry's at right now. Like the demand outweighs what you have supply, so you don't wait for it to get to the point where it's actually good. You sell it at passable.
Right.
Well, it's a super hard industry to get into, right? So like a brand like Smoke Wagon, right? They make vodka, which is like funding their bourbon, right? Like that's the whole, and like it's easy to do, so that's why they're doing that. I mean, and also maybe it's good vodka. I don't know.
No, but like they all do vodka and gin, right? Like most of them, right? Because like, hey, we can sell it and it's quick and easy, right? And any money coming in is great. But to your point there, like Bardstown had the best, idea, right? We'll buy juice, we'll blend it with ours until ours comes of age, and then they came out with something that was 6-year age. That's good product. That's a fair price, right? Like they're one of the few that did that. But like, if you can do that, that's the way to do it, right? Like, age your own, buy and blend, but do it right. I mean, obviously you can't screw it up. But
look, if anybody's going to do it, it's MGP 2.0. Those guys are cranking out barrels. Like the way that MGP is right now, half the market, I think, in the future of NDPs, like non-distilling producers, is going to be Bardstown, because they're just cranking that stuff out.
Yep.
Bourbon Bill said, whole discussion, but Wilderness Trail and Chattanooga do it way better than Penelope for the same or less money, and they make their own juice while Penelope just sources. It is a conversation to have. Chattanooga is a little hard, I think, for some people to swallow because it is that higher malted mash bill.
I honestly really haven't tried Chattanooga, so I can't really speak to it.
Look, and Wilderness Trail just got bought by Campari, who owns Wild Turkey, so yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but then, so, as far as Wilderness Trail goes, I like the stuff that I've had from them is great, and I say, good job. You know what I mean? Like, if getting bought by a bigger company like Campari again is if it's not going to hinder or change what you've done so far, it's just gonna multiply your ability to do what you've been doing better, then I think that's awesome. To me, that's with so. And again, the High West. I don't know anything about that acquisition. Like maybe it made things worse, but in my mind, if you can be a great brand, build a good brand, good marketing, and then you get bought, and so you have more funding and you have access to better things, I think that's a positive.
See, to me, the High West thing, I feel like you've already seen the the change there as far as for the worse, right? Like Midwinter's Dram went up in price, right? Yep. For what reason? Did it get older? No. It's the same juice, it's the same finish. They just raised the price. Why? Like, what's your explanation? Give me a fair explanation on it, and I'll accept it. But they didn't. The price went up, and it's it wasn't worth it at 100, in my opinion. Excuse me. But at 120, 150, it's crazy. Like, to me, their product was on the downslide anyway. So getting bought was their saving grace, because nobody buys High West as their daily drinker, right? Like, it's just not. They don't.
I completely agree with you. Somebody had to say it.
They just don't. Everybody wants Midwinter's Dram. That's it. Yippee-ki-yay was that, and then now you can't get it, right? Other products they put out that they changed to distillery only, like everything cool, you can't get now or is overpriced. So to me, they just went that route of like a money grab. Yeah. So
to stop the shitting on them real quick though, like what they do with their single barrels, I actually think is cool. Like the different finishes on their single barrels is an interesting idea. I had one that was in Fun Blanc barrels a couple years ago, and I actually, weirdly enough, I like white wine finishes, I think, better than red wine. But, their campfire is interesting, but it's not going to appeal to everybody because it's got that Islay Scotch.
It's too smoky. It's too smoky.
Right. It's an Islay Scotch that they're passing off as bourbon.
As a whiskey, right.
Yep. So, I mean, there are definitely, we know people in our group. Dax really enjoys High West.
Mm-hmm. Brian's a big Midwinters fan.
Yeah. So, they definitely do have their fans, but it's difficult. Just go behind, babe.
Well, I think the availability is tough on Midwinters, right? So like in PA, there's no way to like there's no drops of it. Well,
yeah, there are drops.
There are drops of it. I take that back. But like I've never pursued a drop of that, right? It's not a
no, but that is a people line up for a bourbon.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Actually, my buddy Jackson got one.
Yeah.
Actually, this year I think.
I'll tell you this: I probably get more calls for Midwinter's Dram than I do for like Pappy. Just
Really?
because I mean, like, because people think they'll get a Midwinter's, right? Like they know, like most people know they're not going to call and get a Pappy, right? But they'll call and say, "Oh, do you have Midwinter's?" Like, I'll come up.
Yeah.
But when that starts dropping, the phone is off the hook. It's
now, do you get more calls about that than you do about Blanton's? Is the real question.
It's always
it's always Blanton's.
It's always.
All right, one more question, then we're gonna start to wrap up because it is about that time. All right, Gandy Road says, when you select a pick, do you go for the unique, slightly off profile, or do you select the barrel that is closer to profile?
That's a good question.
So that's a great question, actually. I tend to, depending on the pick, right? So if I'm picking Elijah Craig, right, I don't want it to taste just like Elijah Craig. That's pointless, right? So not to say I'm going to go off profile because I feel like they still kind of tend to lean that way, but that's when I'm going to go for flavor first, right? Other picks, I'll tend to go more off profile, right? So the Hughes brothers pick that you picked up, right, John?
It's a secret.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I play games with our tasting group where so they'll be like, "Hey, what's this month's tasting?"
Oh,
We'll find out when you show up.
Well, we know it's Jewel Rye, but other than that,
no, you can go ahead. It's fine. You can talk about Hughes brothers.
Well, the point is, most people that have had Hughes know it's a lot of dill, right? Well, when I picked it, I don't love a ton of dill, so I went away from that dill profile, because that's not what I like. So, so yeah, I mean, it to answer his question, it definitely varies pick to pick, on the distillery and what their normal profile is, and so like the Old Forester pick, right? Normally that cherry notes is a common theme in Old Forester. So the pick that I did really was enhanced cherry to me when I picked it. It was cherry on the nose, it was cherry on the palate, but to the nth degree, right? It was just exacerbated. It was a crazy cherry. So I was like, I gotta have it. It's a cherry bomb.
Yep. We actually just finished up that pick. We didn't talk about it at all. We've been enjoying your conversation more than the actual whiskey. So it's been a fun day.
Yeah, it's been awesome. But the Old Forester single barrel is amazing.
Dude, that pick is cherry, but it's not like it's like cherry runts.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's a candy cherry.
Yeah.
Yep. Dude, it's so good.
Thank you.
Dude, one other thing I want to cap in there is like you're talking about the Hughes being off profile, but the Artist Spirits pick is MGP rye also.
But you would never know. You would never say.
No, you would not. It is there is none of that dill note, and it's like very sweet. It actually reminds me of like Angel's Envy rye almost.
Okay.
Whereas it's not quite that sweet, but it's got like a lot of more of those notes than like the dill that you get off of a usual MGP rye.
No, I mean, look, all the stuff that they put out, I feel like you wouldn't pick that as MGP. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's not like, it might not be a Kentucky, right? Like it's you could probably say that, but you're like, it doesn't read that way at all. And most of their stuff is older, 7 to 8 year. So I think that's what helps.
Yeah. All right, dude. We're gonna tie it up here, but we're gonna say goodbye to you now. Thank you so much for being on. It was a great conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yep. So if you guys have not, everyone in the chat, if you've not been to Sawbulls, go meet Nick, talk to him about bourbon, try his stuff, and pick up some of his picks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for being on.
See you, Nick.
Pleasure.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
All right. Dude, that was awesome. I love Nick.
Crazy. Dude, so much information.
Yep. That was a good state of the industry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like, dude, we could sit here and talk for hours.
Yep.
For hours and hours and argue about Penelope and and stuff like that. But super fun conversation. Very cool. Very cool to get Nick's perspective on things. Like, obviously, the dude's really in the industry and has had tons of cool experiences. Yeah. And I mean, from my experience, this is my first time having anything I think of his picks.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Dude, every single one of them is good.
Picks. Crazy.
Dude, even the Art of Spirits being $100, that is as good, if not better than the Remus's. Like the Remus Repeals.
Yeah.
Dude, that pick is fantastic.
more flavor. I think there's more flavor dimensions to that.
But it's not like, so it's 8 years and you're starting to see like Nulu getting in some 8-year MGP barrels. Mm-hmm. Obviously have not been able to get our hands on those because they're like $150 and like highly allocated.
I just don't want to spend $150 on. I don't want to spend $100. I don't want, dude.
But look,
spending.
So for the same age though, that is $50 less. Mm-hmm. Like, and maybe 5 proof less than the one that our bourbon did this year.
Yeah.
It's every bit as good.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It might not be
because we did. Yeah, because we didn't.
But it is light years better than any of the Nulu we've had. It's light years better than any. Well, it's light years better than any of the Penelope that I've had.
Yeah, I think the only thing I think I had one toasted last year that was like really exceptional, and I wish I still had some, but it's gone because I drank it because it was so good.
Right.
But
that's unfinished.
Right.
Even the Taconic pick, right? That it is literally, take these out now. Krispy Kreme donuts.
Dude.
Like it is so good.
It's really, really good. I'm very impressed is what I'm saying. And for sure, I'm going to have to get down to Sawbulls and start like going after some of his picks.
Dude, absolutely.
What's so funny is when I tried those Elijah Craig DKs at 717. I remember when they seemed to be a big deal on the table, and I was like, why are these so special? I didn't realize where they were from, who picked them. But they were very good. I was like, these are really great. 94 proof Elijah Craig. Holy crap.
Yeah, Vin goes down there all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna close up with the state of the industry, which has kind of been our whole theme tonight. A lot of fun. I think we've really had a lot of interaction from our people. Everybody loves Nick. I think that's really what we should have titled this. Everybody loves Nick.
Everybody's gonna love Nick.
Yeah,
now everybody does love Nick.
Yeah, if you've not been down to Sawbulls, you do not understand. Like his picks are on point.
Absolutely. Yep. And I don't know what they cost, but I mean, it seems like $50 to $100 range is pretty common.
Yeah, I mean his Duke pick and his Art of Spirits picks are a little bit more expensive, but they're high age, and the Duke pick is a finished in wine barrels. I forget what it is. I think it's Cab Sav. Could be wrong. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
But you can go down and try stuff. That's
right.
The whole point. So go down, try things. It's. I mean, like, I can't wait to get down there.
Better than PA.
And you said it's only an hour away. Somewhere in Lancaster County. So an hour from Lancaster County. That's not bad. That's a drive you can do on a Saturday, no problem. Or a Friday. Okay, so we're going to finish up here with our final question that we're just going to answer. Oh, boy. Where do you see what are your bold predictions for the industry in the next year, 5 years, something like that? What do you see on the horizon? You go first. Okay, so I think there's going to be an influx of, as we've seen Rise have rised in popularity. That was not intentional. It was literally just where my brain was making connections. Rise have risen? I think that would be the
Rise rose?
Nope. That's past tense. Right,
it was past tense. Like Rise rose in popularity. I think that single malts, American single malts, are rising in popularity. Okay. Like we just had. Well, I agree with that. At some point, we're going to have the video come out, probably next Friday, of the Virginia Distilling Company's Courage and Conviction that I did. You know, we had Jack Daniels,
The twice barreled.
Yeah, the twice barreled
from last year. Yeah.
Even the triple malt or the triple mash has
malt.
single malt in it. So I think you're going to see that be the next big thing that a lot of distilleries are really leaning into. I wouldn't be surprised if Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace come out with ones next year, or even this year.
Yep.
I think you're going to see, maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I think that with like the rise of the Old Forester 117 series and last year's Coy Hill, I think you're going to see more special releases in half bottles in 375s, or at least like smaller sizes, because legislation passed and you can do whatever size you want now. So like Woodford's are special releases are in 700 ml ones. I think Jack Daniels this year were in 700 mils. So you can do whatever you want. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see 375 special releases or even 500 ml half liter special releases.
That's super interesting.
That's what I got.
You know what? I don't know that I have like big picture predictions.
Just throw a dart. Have like something that you've thought, like just
What have I thought? Because I like tried to think about this before the live stream, and I was like, I don't have anything crazy. And I was in Kentucky last week, and I still don't really have anything crazy, other than I agree with you on the single malt thing. At least one distillery we were at talked about single malts, and I truly can't remember which one because I wasn't super interested.
No, but
I wasn't in the Willet tour, so it was either Old Forester, Buffalo Trace, Evan Williams, or Heaven Hill, but it wasn't Heaven Hill. I'm sure they could.
And
do
Evan
one.
Williams is Heaven Hill, so
right. Evan Williams is Heaven Hill. It could have been Old Forester. I don't think so. Might have been Buffalo Trace. Talking about a single malt. Can you imagine that? That'd be wild.
I can't actually imagine it. I think that Buffalo Trace, especially their experimental collection, maybe it's just that. Maybe it's an experimental bottle, but they
are experimenting with things. Like they do talk about that on the tour.
They did an Amburana.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a Mizunara when that was popular with Angel's Envy. Did a Mizunara finish, but
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have huge. I think the smaller size special releases would be interesting. I think for me that would kind of be a bummer. I don't really want half bottles.
Okay, but if you have the opportunity at a half bottle, or you don't get it at all.
Yeah, I take a half bottle of Coy Hill over no Coy Hill, which is my current situation, which is no Coy Hill.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like you literally double the amount of people who can get it, and then you can, like, to some extent, like we talked about with the Elijah Craig grenades, like their 200 milliliter grenade barrels.
Yes,
like those are $50, and if you look at it by volume, they're like $187 for a full bottle, which is not.
$50?
Yeah, yes, they are, but I think they're worth it. Worth the taste. I would not buy a $187 full bottle of it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's worth that, and you can kind of start to say, okay, maybe this bottle is worth $200, right? So if I buy a half bottle at $100, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, it's less money out of your pocket, and you get double the chances of getting it.
Yeah.
So,
yep,
that's where we're at. Faith.
Yeah.
How many people did we have comment tonight?
15.
15 people comment.
Those are pretty good odds. My wife being one of those, which is dope.
You have a 1 in 15 chance at a million Bartons.
We got two more comments in there. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Those quick. Not to hold things up.
Candy Road, I agree with smaller size offerings. Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with me. So.
Gross.
Multi-distillery collab blends. I'm not sure how that would work, and I'm not sure if you could do that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that, but that would be interesting. I'd see like Bardstown collab with like Willet and somebody else.
Okay, so
Heaven Hill. So
he sent me a story or a short yesterday, I think, last night.
Yeah.
Of this guy mixing, I think it was 1792 small batch and Elijah Craig small batch. Like it was like a whiskey. So I think what he's
Was it
talking
that
about.
whiskey bonded dude?
I don't know. I don't remember.
He's like a really long face.
Mm-mm.
He's got light up mic.
Nope, I hate that guy. I don't think it was
you
that
feel
guy.
about him how I feel about
I
Bruzel.
hate that guy.
I hate
Oh my
Bruzel.
gosh. You know what? I watched one of Bruzel's lives, and you know what, dude? Bruzel, to his credit, he makes you feel like everybody in the live stream is in his living room. And the way he talks to like people watching, it's like we're all friends. We're all doing this together. And all of a sudden I felt like I was making the decisions, and like it was my choice to pour whatever the heck Bruzel was drinking. Anyway, my point is I understand why people don't like him. I didn't like him for a long time. I sort of am like a little bit more open to Bruzel's content. Anyway, what I think this comment's about, right, is the collab blending is like it becoming more popular, not by distilleries, but like people blending different things.
It's Louisville Bourbon Buzz.
Yeah.
Super simple set. He's got a beard. He puts stuff in bags. His stuff is always fantastic. He's a photographer.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Brad says, I love that stag hat. How much was it?
$30. Super cheap. I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm a hat guy, so
W hats were $30.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Probably going to come back again.
And those
you
are
guys want some?
Those are Brandon Bill's hats. So
Yeah.
this is just from Buffalo Trace. It's got like the cool like texture on the quilting on the front. Yeah. Thank you. And then it's a snapback with a stag tag on the back.
Stag tag.
Dan and I each got one, and we were both wearing them in the store. And I was like to his wife, I was like, wait, which one of us looks cooler in the hat? And she was like, my husband, obviously. And I was like, damn it.
Johnny Dean says, Conrad Dodd, whiskey bonded.
So that's a whiskey bonded guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I don't hate his content. Look.
I do. There's something about... Listen, he's got great content.
Yeah.
He's built his channel on shorts, right? That's the guy we're talking about?
Yeah.
And he has, like, way too much Eagle Rare. Like, for some reason, it seems like cases and cases of Eagle Rare in his closet.
We have way too much plans.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. We don't have cases and cases of plants.
If I had infinite money, I would.
Nobody had. We don't. I don't have. Anyway. Anyway. For me, there's
$30
something.
Distillery, $19.99 on secondary.
No. Yeah, right. If you want this one, I'll sign it with a silver Sharpie because I'm Brandon from Gentleman at Whiskey. How about that? And it'll be $199.99.
Yeah, not $19.99. I'm sorry. I can't read today. It's fine.
Anyway, that guy, the Conrad guy, whatever. I just don't care for his personality. My wife can't stand ADHD whiskey. I watch his videos and she's like, "Why are you watching?" And I'm like, "He's amazing. He's so funny."
Nate hates him too.
Yeah, Nate doesn't like him either.
But I will say, the counterpoint to your Bruzel thing is I would watch ADHD whiskey 9,000 times out of 9,000 over Bruzel.
But what about the Conrad guy? Because that's kind of more who we're...
I don't know. I don't swipe away from his stuff. As soon as I see Bruzel's face, I swipe away.
Oh, see, it's
like it's 100% like, nope, don't. There's nothing that you can say that I'm interested in.
It is salesy. I just watched one of his bourbon hunting videos the other day because I was like bored.
No, it's just dumb. Like it's like I'm gonna start my lawnmower with Weller Foolproof. Like,
okay, that I had a huge problem with, and a lot of people think it was fake. I don't know if it was fake or not. I really
don't care if it's fake. Like it's one of those things that it's like for content.
Right.
Oh no. Brad, look, here's the deal. I want to answer everyone's questions, but we're like 14 minutes over right now.
I mean, we can talk about
it. Really quick. I mean, like, we like the Bourbon Junkies.
I appreciate that question, yeah.
I really like Chris from Bourbon of the Week. His live streams are fun. Streamers. ADHD Whiskey does a great job. I think, to some extent, like, we're kind of taking our own path. We're small, so we can have this back and forth with our subs that others can't because they have hundreds of thousands of subs.
Sure.
So having this conversation is great.
I don't think we're not getting on here trying to be like anybody necessarily. Channels that I watch regularly are the Bourbon Junkies, ADHD Whiskey, Jason C from the Mash and Drum.
Yep.
Cam, Drums and Drams. And then Bourbon of the Week, Chris, of course. And then Bourbon Bill. I watch Bourbon Bill's videos.
Yep.
Obviously, another PA guy. He's putting out reviews. I honestly, for the most part, aside from the whole Penelope thing, like Bourbon Bill and I think have very similar palates. And I typically agree with most of his reviews. So those are really the channels that I enjoy. Again, like we're not on here trying to be somebody else because that wouldn't work. So we're just trying to do us, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to have a persona or anything. Like, not that we necessarily think. Like, I think that the Bourbon Junkies, to some extent, do project a persona. I think ADHD Whiskey does to an extent too. Yeah. But like, we're just trying to be here. We're trying to have a good time and talk to you people. And if we get to 1,000 subs and can monetize and make money to subsidize our bourbon addictions, that's cool.
That'd be crazy.
So,
but yeah, I mean, and I hope that that's clear that like we're not on here acting. Like I'm not on here. Like if you know me in real life, like this is how I talk. I'm
dumb all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah. But Brad, thanks for watching.
Haley apparently loves Bourbon of the Week.
She does. Yep, my wife loves Bourbon of the Week.
Brad loves. It's Bourbon Night. You guys did a great job reading the chat. Have a great night. Thank you so much. Oh, really quick. All right, so we're just gonna finish up.
John's gonna do the giveaway. I will say I like It's Bourbon Night as well. Yep. I tried Stuff and Whiskey like 100 times. I love their idea, but it just takes them 17 minutes to blind taste 2 things, and that's too long for me. So
okay, so Faith has them numbered from 1 to 15, and here we go.
John's gonna do the randomizer.
Number 8.
Hold it up. Who's number 8?
Number 8.
Johnny Dean.
My guy, Johnny
Dean. What's up, man?
Dude? I love that.
Yeah. So we'll get with you. We'll get you a T-shirt in your preferred size and color, and a Blanton's Mini. And thank you for watching. Probably. Yeah, some stickers, definitely. Yep.
Awesome.
For sure.
Guys, thanks for being here. Yeah. Thanks for watching. The chat is the best part.
Yep.
Literally, I mean, talking to Nick was amazing, but like just being able to talk to people, hopping on live. I said something in a Facebook group earlier, like literally talking to you guys is the best part. So.
Well, and we wouldn't be, like, if our live streams didn't have people in them, people commenting, to interact with, we wouldn't do this, because there's literally no other point than interacting with you guys. So
100%.
It's super fun. Thank you for watching.
Because, like, I don't go back and watch these. You know what I mean? Like, I don't freaking sit there and watch these, so.
I do sometimes and check audio levels and stuff that I screw up.
Okay, so. Technical things, yep.
Yeah.
And then that one time we got way too sloshed.
Ooh, yeah. Cake. Yep, we got.
You want to go watch? You want to watch the end of a funny live?
Giant piece of birthday cake, because I was hammered.
That was bad. Hey, look, Johnny Dean's in there. Just shout out to the winner.
Johnny Dean, baby.
Hey, man, appreciate you. Glad you're following along.
Yep.
See you on the gram.
All right, we are Gentlemen of Whiskey. If you enjoy this content, check out our other videos. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out. It helps us feel like we're actually accomplishing something. And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.